What's going on, guys? And welcome back to Footy with an Edge, or should I say Christmas with an Edge? Footy with the Christmas. Call it wherever you want to call it. But I've got my Christmas sweater on. Hopefully, you guys do too. And just vibing in the. Hold on, I'm hearing myself twice. Hopefully, everyone's having a good holiday. And let me just say hi to some of the folks here. Let's pop the chat out. I see we have Ayush waiting. Ayush, appreciate you being here early. Drod's here too. Imran's here. Rishi says, like the stream. I would listen to Rishi. He's a smart man. What's up, Imran? Good morning. Good evening, says Tiny Task Force. Ayush says, I'm happy you're going live, bro, so take your time. Appreciate it. Yeah, just a few things that I had to set up and help people out. Check out the comment, guys. Now the comments show up on the right-hand side. Isn't that nice? So we don't go away from the agenda here, and everything is kosher for everybody. I think I need to fix my screen here, so give me 1 second. Need to move that over and a little bit more. Bang. Okay. That should now be good. Good day, good evening, Merry Christmas to you too. Priyank says, yo, D1134 says game is tonight. No, it's not. This is a live preview. I hope you didn't get clickbaited by the thumbnail. The idea was to have a live preview in the same style of the game. If you don't like the thumbnail, you let me know and I'll update from my side. What's up, Andy? What's up, Imran? Darshan's given us a super chat. Darshan, is this the same Darshan that has been talking to me on Discord? Because if it is, then you should have a day off today, which means you can come join us on the stream. And it would be lovely to talk to you. Let me just make sure I'm pinging Discord as well to make sure everybody joins. Okay, bang. Messaged everyone there. We still have people rolling in. Darshan, appreciate you, brother, for the super chat again. Priyank says, yo. RJ says tomorrow night. Yep, the game is tomorrow night. I was just here for the preview and to say hi to you lovely people on this Christmas afternoon or evening, wherever you guys are. Anyways, guys, we have lots to get into. The big question for today is it a Christmas miracle at Old Trafford if we win? And in my humble opinion, it is absolutely going to be a Christmas miracle if we win, because I'm telling you guys, the last time Bruno didn't play for us around Christmas was never. Bruno has always been available for these games. So I'm really worried about this game, man. I'm telling you guys, Newcastle can turn it up any given day. Bruno Guimaraes loves his celebrations, right? He does 10 celebrations per goal. He could totally turn up and do a madness, be the best player on the pitch. So it's going to be a tough one. I'm just going to be honest. So let me just pull this up here. What do I have to do with the same thing? Okay, so first item on the agenda is what the table looks like now and what it could look like after this game, right? And I'm just looking at the notes that I put together before the game. So United sit 7th on the table with 26 points. Newcastle are 11th on the table with 23 points. From 4th, which is Chelsea, to 15th, which is Bournemouth, there's only a 7-point gap, right? Chelsea sitting on 29 points, Bournemouth sitting on 22 points. If we win, we're likely to just stay in 6th or 7th because some teams above us are also likely to pick up points. Or some teams below us pick up point, whichever way. I think the best case scenario for us is staying 6th or 7th. If we lose, we could drop as low as 10th or 11th or maybe even 12th. So this is a must win purely from a league position perspective if we want to stay within touching distance of like 4th place, right? Because we're on 26 points, like I said. We could go on 29 points, and if Chelsea lose, we'd be on the same points as them. So momentum matters a lot more than style of play right now. Like, this is the type of game where Ruben Amorim needs to channel his inner Sean Dyche, his inner Tony Pulis, whatever it needs. By hook or by crook, we have to win this game. This game isn't about system. It's not about anything else. So if what it takes to get the W is Sunday League football or hoofball or whatever Flex wants to call it, we have to be prepared to play whatever it takes to win this game. That's just the long and the short of it, right? There's no two ways to look at it. D1 says, I think we'll win simply because our position won't change. Losing tomorrow, most likely. Guardiola might actually use him as fullback. Who are you talking about? Oh, Semenyo. RJ says, I think we're losing tomorrow, guys. I'm sorry. I'm not worried about Semenyo. He seems just money hungry. Will be a bench player on the City bench. Do you think we have a chance tomorrow if the boys actually show up? I mean, yeah, of course. If the boys show up, then we have a chance. We need to be organized and solid at the back. I think we'll win simply because our position won't change. Doesn't Guardiola invert his fullbacks? I thought Semenyo is a wide player. December curse is bad. We need a shaky Newcastle to show up. Yeah. So, guys, the truth is that we're in a weird situation. We had our full team available to us for such a long time, and we didn't capitalize on it. I think the Everton game, the West Ham game, we should have won both of those. Had we done that, we would have 5 points more, right? Because 2 victories from 1 draw and 1 loss. Yeah, we would have had 5 points more at the moment, and we would have been on 31 points instead of 26. 2 games. That's the real difference, right? 2 games where the team didn't really show up. I mean, West Ham, the performance was better than the result. Plus, they had 2 red cards that we didn't get given, but still, the points are the points, and them's the breaks, right? So we've put ourselves into this position, and we're now sitting here thinking about what we could potentially do. Right. Waha says, and Mbumo cares to pass when playing for Cameroon. No, he passes for United too. That's a false narrative. At least that's how I feel. Getting battered tomorrow. We need a shaky Newcastle to show up. Okay, I've already looked at that one. But Mjuscope says, what's up, man? How you doing? Yeah, so I'm telling you guys, regardless of AFCON, injuries, shoddy form, I don't care. We have to win this game. I don't care if it's the worst performance we've ever seen. I'm tired of having good performances but bad results. So tomorrow's the time for us to stink the gaff up, just play bad football at Old Trafford and just win the game, because that's all I care about. Let's go to the next item in the agenda, which is no Bruno, no Menu. Menu, I think, is there some Starboy Freedom thing here? Let me check this out. Kobe, Menu, Freedom. Yeah. Anyways, so Kobe Menu is now injured right when Bruno Fernandes gets injured. If you take this seriously and you actually look at it from the perspective of he did get injured, this is not a disciplinary thing. How injury prone is this guy actually, right? From the first preseason when he was about to get into the first team under Ten Hag, all the way to now, like it's been 3 seasons now. I think this is the 3rd season. He has been he has been so freaking injury prone, dude. And I find it really hard to believe that um this is the type of player that you want to build the squad around, right? I think this injury really concerns me in terms of the value we can get for him in the market. Because any team that's going to look at him is they're going to say, well, he can probably only play 40 games a season. Whereas Bruno can probably play 80 games a season. So you're getting, even if he's twice the player as Bruno, you're only getting him for half the games, which means he's not going to be the same value, right? That's not how it works. So I, I think we'd be lucky to get 50 million for Kobe Mainu. That's how I'm feeling in terms of this transfer saga. But okay, we don't have Bruno, we don't have Mainu. What is the solution? So our available midfield options are Lisandro Martinez, Casemiro, and Ugarte. The key question is, does he go with a 3-4-3 or does he go with a 4-2-3-1? And who does he actually start in front of them, right? Does Mount play? Does Cunha play? Does Šeško play? And if they do play, they probably will play. What positions do they play in? I think with the midfield that we have, it's much more important for us to have Mount involved in it. So he probably goes with a 4-2-3-1. That turns into a 3-1-6 type of formation in build-up, or even a 3-2-5. So I think we're going to see Casemiro and Ugarte start in the midfield with Mount up front, and Licha probably comes off the bench still, because we can't forget, guys, that we are still trying to manage Lisandro's minutes. We don't want him to get injured again, because that's going to be a very difficult position that we're going to be putting ourselves in. So the possible shape for me is a 4-2-3-1 that turns into a 3-2-5, probably, with Casemiro and Ugarte in the middle. And yeah, Mason Mount occasionally dropping into that midfield as well. Let me see. Imran says Licha is definitely starting in midfield. I think yeah, there's a problem that Rishi's brought up, which is if you start both of them, you have nobody to bring on. But also that Licha can't play 90 minutes. And I don't even think he has the intensity to start a game like this yet. So maybe he just plays off the bench. 50 would also be 40 plus 10 Garnacho deal. Yeah. I hope it'll be Case and Mount in midfield. Yeah, it might be. Totally. Casemiro, Martinez in midfield. Guys, that's going to be difficult to do, right? Villa is playing low and not pressing. Newcastle will be a different battle. Too risky for Licha. I agree. So Newcastle are a high-pressing team, right? And we're going to talk about that in a second. And I can get my screen ready to share because I have some stuff to show you guys. Okay. If I go here, pull this up. Newcastle. Do you think Malacia is completely done at United? Possibly. I think only like a desperate injury situation gets us to play Malacia again. It's my opinion. Okay, so here I have the general profile of Newcastle. Let me share my screen. Yeah. So what we're looking at is they're a very possession-based team. They're not very direct. So they like to do the slower build-up, let's say. They're also a very high-pressing team. So they're likely to, try to put pressure on our center backs, which means they're going to put pressure on Lenny Yoro like we've never seen before. They're relatively conservative, so this matches up with the picture of the possession based, right? So they're trying to move the ball slowly, and they focus a lot on wide play, right? So if we look at the attacking zones right here, you'll see most of their ball progression happens through the wings, right? So you have 16% in this. It's not exactly zone 16, zone 18. It's kind of divided up a little differently on XG But if you look at this 16% box here, this 17% box here, this is literally Barnes and Gordon, right? Moving the ball down the wings. And centrally, they're not doing much at all. So a lot of I think this is their passing, I believe, or I have to reach out to Noel here and ask him. Oh, there we go. Okay. See where the team creates danger in the opposition half. Each zone shows the percentage and count of attacking actions. So key passes, passes into the box, assists, and dribbles that occurred there. Greener zones indicate higher activity. So this is basically attacking actions that are taking place for the whole season, right? And essentially, most of their attacks come down the flanks. So that's the idea, guys. I think this is the type of team that we're playing. And their biggest goal threats are Nick Voltemata and Bruno Guimaraes, right? So let me just change the agenda here. Hold on. Let's go here and say thank you to Shant, by the way, who's come up with these graphics. He spent the time to make Voltemata look like the Grinch, and we've made him the Grinch Amada because he could come steal Christmas from us, right? But you look at Voltemata and Bruno Guimaraes, they have combined 12 goals in the Premier League this year. Voltemata with 7, Bruno G with 5. Newcastle's strengths, like we said, are aggressive high press, attacks funneled through wide zones, and midfield runners arriving late in the box. So the challenges for us are protecting the wide areas behind the fullbacks, right? So assuming we do play that 3-1-6 or 3-2-5 formation in build up, we're going to be exposed in that shape when we lose the ball, which means there's going to be space behind both fullbacks that we're going to have to protect. And to do that, we're going to need we're probably going to need one of Dallo or Dorgu to play a bit more defensive role. And I think Dorgu probably makes more sense for us to have him stay further back because he is a little bit better with that. But the issue is that he's also better getting forward on the left-hand side, and he also really helps Mateus Cunha on the left-hand side. So that's going to be a tricky one for Amorim to figure out, which is which side does he protect and which side does he attack from. And I'd love to hear your thoughts in a second when we open the lines up here. But give me 1 second. Let me read some of the comments here. Sheshko really needs to step up. It's like he's scared of shooting. No, he's also not getting the ball in good positions. I think he's just trying to make the right decision when he gets the ball. Nightwing says, Merry Christmas, brother. Hope you and your family are having a great time. Ooh, Nightwing has just gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much, Nightwing. It's a nice Christmas present for those of you guys that are watching. We got Rahul Biswas, Ebike Slapunta, Bats 007, United Ant, and the Sober Coder all receiving gift memberships. So thank you so much, guys. Let's give Nightwing some W's in the chat. What else was I looking at? Yeah, so we've got a situation where we have to protect the fullbacks, like I said. And last thing that we want to discuss today is the ugly sweater party at Old Trafford. Again, thank you to Shantyard for these graphics here. But basically, we're in a position where we're used to high-scoring games because we have a midfield that's focused on creating more than defending, right? And that's the only way we can actually create chances. Um, and sometimes, based on the players that we have to accept that it's going to be a low scoring and boring affair because I think that's what's going to happen tomorrow. We have no Bruno. We're going to have a bit more stability in the team defensively, but we're not going to create any chances. So I think this is as likely to be a 1-0 loss, a 2-1 loss, or a 1-1 draw as any other result. And I just think we will definitely not see a 4-4 type of game because we just don't have the creativity for it. I think there's a chance we lose 2 or 3-0, but I don't think we can create that many goals. So Amorim has to go into this thinking about how do I make sure we stay defensively very assured and just try to score a couple of goals here or there in order to actually make this work. So I think Old Trafford's going to be a factor. I think they're going to be in the holiday spirit. People are going to be super happy. Boxing Day is a big day for us historically, and I think we played Newcastle on Boxing Day like many, many years ago. So that's going to be an interesting one as well. So whether the crowd's going to be anxious or they're going to be supporting the team or they're going to show some sort of urgency and there's going to be oohs and ahs, we'll have to see. I think the crowd is actually going to be pretty supportive at Old Trafford because they know we've lost a lot of our big players and that it's going to be a difficult time for the kids to play. We probably see one of the kids maybe playing pretty quickly, right? Like coming on in the 60th minute. I think we could see like Jack Fletcher or somebody like that come on. We could see Shea Lacey come on as well. Maybe there's a case to be made for Montado as well, but I think our wingbacks are pretty fit and can play the 90 minutes, so that's a good thing. So questions for you guys is, should Licha start in the midfield again? Is Casemiro still trusted as the lone six? Do United need to play safe or go aggressive early? And would you take a draw given where the table is, or is that unacceptable? And I will let Rishi hop on and take those questions from you guys. Rishi, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Merry Christmas to everyone.
Yeah, Merry Christmas indeed. How are you doing, Rishi? How are you feeling today? Oh, we got 5 gifted memberships from Shaylin as well. Shaylin the GOAT, bringing the Christmas miracle just like Nightwing. Let me see who got it here. It is Ranked Daily D1G, Real Sai Gajula. Okay, I'm not going to read all the names. Humphrey Wangyu got a gift membership as well. Humphrey himself, gives us some super chats. So it's very nice for him to get a return gift there. And then Stanley Chinedu also gets a gift membership. So guys, whoever's getting the gift memberships, go check out our members only videos. Last week, I was actually very low on energy, so I wasn't able to put one out. But this week for sure, today or tomorrow, actually probably today, there'll be a members only video coming out. So go check that out. And thank you, Shaylin. I appreciate you, man. And Shaylin's also the reason Nightwing has a membership, because last time when he gifted it, Nightwing got one as well. Because for some reason he's gifting memberships, but he doesn't want to buy one. Okay, Rishi will take the questions. Yeah, it is. Rishi will take your questions, guys. I'll be right back.
Hello, everyone. Kindly bear with me. I'm just filling in here on short notice. I've got my iPad open in front of me because if I join from my phone, I can't really see the comments like you do. So I have to look at your comments here on YouTube. And what are we saying? Okay, everyone is a lot of praise for the legends of the chat, Nightwing and Shaylin. Well done, lads. Thank you so much for your support, your continued support. Andy and I are always grateful for uh, all the love that you guys show. Nightwing and Shaylin, he's become a integral part of the community. I hope each one of you went and checked out the latest Stat Padders episode, which Shaylin wrote the script for, and let's see. If you guys want more of Shaylin and Stat Padders, if you loved what he had to share, if you loved what he brought to the table, let's show him some love in the comments right now. I like. I don't feel he's got enough love for the work that he put out, right? So let's see some love for the Stat Padders episode for Shaylin, because uh, not only is he generous with his love for the community in terms of the memberships, but also in terms of the time that he invested in writing the script. Because guys, trust me, there was a lot of material there. Like Shaylin shared the first version of a script with me, and it probably could have been like a PBS mini series, right? It could have been like 8 episodes, and we had to kind of cut it down and bring it down. And even then, it was like an hour-long episode, and that's like on the upper end of the Start Padders episodes that we do. So yeah, uh, Imran says Shaylin definitely knows ball. Awesome, awesome. So guys, let's get into this preview, because what do you guys think of the Newcastle game? Uh, what do we think of? Okay, ILJ115 says, I think Ugarte and Kase will start. We seem to forget that they played almost every Europa League game together. Yes, I remember the stat I read a while back. It I think it was Ugarte Casemiro played 7 games together last season. Won three, drawn three, lost one. So those were like really encouraging numbers for me. I do not know what they're like, including this season. Those are the numbers from last season. Sudarshan says, in my opinion, we should give everything in the first 30 minutes like we always do, get a goal or two, and then defend like your life depends on it. Yeah, Sudarshan, bro, but it's not always worked out for us, right? Like, we're a team that's not guaranteed a win even after scoring 4 goals. I think in the history of the Premier League, we must be the most unique team out there. Because if you concede 4 goals, there's no prayer that you're going to score four as well, right? But we always look like we're good for 4 goals to score and to concede. So I like your way of thinking that you need to give everything in the first 30 minutes. Newcastle are also a very well conditioned team, so they know how to manage their energy levels. So, but yeah, like you said, that might be our best option. Sorry. Darshan says, I asked a question on probability of Casemiro playing right center back, playing Mount and Ugarte
What's up,
midfield,
Rishi? What did
and
I miss?
putting. Yeah, I'm just going through a question by Darshan. He says, I asked a question on probability of Casemiro playing right center back, playing Mount and Ugarte midfield, and putting Zirkzee, Sesko, and Cunha up front. I think the probability is very low, because it's too much, too many parts being moved around. You get what I mean? Because they would have
Somebody
practiced a
says
certain
Shaylin for
way.
president. Let's go.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely, dude.
yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, Andy, I mean, we just pretty much a lot of love for Shaylin and Nightwing, both of them. I told them that I feel Shaylin hasn't got enough love for the work that he put into the Stat Padders episode, and some people
Well,
are showing
I
love,
have
but
to
I
say,
guess
I have to say, on the flip side, I did see a lot of the nice comments for him under the episode. I also saw a lot of nice comments for him on Discord, where people were directly calling him out. So, as much as he hasn't received enough, the amount that he did,
yeah,
want to give.
that's what I mean. No, no, absolutely, yeah, yeah. We've got some very intelligent people in our community, so I'm very glad that we are able to deliver a little bit more, right? Like. It's not just you and me. It's people like Shaylin, people like Sean, who really know their football, and they're always interested in investigating deeper and trying to get to the truth and learning a little bit more and understanding a little bit more of this beautiful game. So we're all grateful, and it was just my way of saying, I guess, that no amount of appreciation is enough for Shaylin.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just wanted to point out because maybe people are thinking nobody said anything, right? But I don't want it to feel like that.
No, no, no,
People have,
absolutely. No, no,
yeah,
they did. I mean, Shaylin told me that he's screenshotted all the nice comments and sent it to his friends. So probably enough of
nice,
them there.
nice. Shaylin, you got to show it to your wife so that she understands your passion for the game. Okay. Anytime
Yeah.
something nice happens to me on the channel, my wife's the first one to get a notification about it. Like this is
Rods
what her
says
sacrifice brings.
His contribution was elite. Yeah, Rods, absolutely agree with you. Elite. Shaylin is elite. And I've done something sneaky, Andy. There's something very interesting that I've chanced upon, and I have kind of put a germ of something in Shailen's head. So let's see, maybe we have another Stat Padders episode coming out soon. It's some very exciting stuff, very tense stuff, and a lot to unpack there. It's all up to Shailen if he's interested in collaborating on another Stat Padders episode. It would be another banger, I believe.
Yeah, nice. Can't wait to see what he cooks up. Guys, we're gonna open up the lines as well if some of you want to come have a chat with us. Since this is a Christmas episode, why don't we just have both me and Rishi on the panel the whole time, and you guys can come talk to us. Because this is I don't think is this the first Christmas. Sorry, let me rephrase this. This is probably the first time we'll spend this much time talking to each other on Christmas in like 14, 15 years. You know what I'm saying? Actually,
Well,
maybe even longer.
the
Yeah.
funny thing is there was a game in the 11-12 season that was on New Year's Eve that you and I saw together. Coincidentally, again, a United Newcastle game. And guess who scored on that day? I think it was a 4-1 win. Uh,
Is that the one that YouTube was recommending to me recently? Is that the last time we played them on
I
Boxing Day?
No, I believe this was New Year's Eve on 31st.
Oh, okay, okay. It's the 4-1
31st
you said?
December 2011. It was Sir Alex's 70th birthday. I think we won 4-1, if I remember correctly, or 4-2. And Ryan Giggs scored on that day.
Were you wearing the jersey?
I believe I was not, but yeah. So that was probably the Christmas in
You
that
said
year that
11,
we
12?
really spent. Yeah, so that
11,
would have
12
been
season.
31st December 2011.
So there's one that's been posted by the United YouTube channel that says Boxing Day special Man United 4-3. This is in 12-13.
Yeah, not that one, not that one. But we do tend to play Newcastle around this time. I believe under Ollie, under Ollie we played them with Jose, and that was in November. Yeah, so not the same game.
Okay, my wife's reminding me that I was in India in 2019 for Christmas.
Yes, you were.
Yes.
Yes, you were. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
She's reminding me because I wasn't with her. Okay, that's why she remembers. She was very upset with me as well. But that's for another day. Maybe that's a behind the scenes episode, guys, of her just being upset with me.
Members
Tabi
exclusive.
says, yeah, members exclusive. Tabi says Casemiro and Ugarte start. Cass as a six, screening the defense. Ugarte pressing forward and only having to make 5-yard passes. Licha left center back. Shaw to debut as left wing back. Thoughts?
I love
So
the
I think
confidence Thabi has in Ugarte to make even that 5 yard pass. So
no, but I
I'm sure
think
Ugarte appreciates it.
that's my prediction as well for the midfield. It is going to be Ugarte and Casemiro, and I think that actually brings out the best in Ugarte as well because him not being the last man on defense is actually when he plays his best football, right? And we've talked about this before. If it was a 3-man midfield, Ugarte would be a much better player for us, right? So if we essentially, what are we looking at here? He said left wing back as Shaw, right? I think for Shaw, left wing back is going to be difficult because how do I put this? Shaw at left wing back does not have the legs to go up and down, and I think Amorim has already said as much. Rishi needs to learn how to find the mute button before he does that.
Sorry, guys. It just crept up
Because
on
when
me.
you turn around, I think your mic's on that side. Is it?
Oh yeah, my bad. I'm just used to my phone's in my left hand, so
Yeah.
yeah, my bad. It just I tried. I thought I was suppressing it, but it just like
You amplified it.
bolted out. It bolted out.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bad. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Anyway, so so I think Amorim has said that Shaw doesn't have the legs anymore for his fitness reasons. He has to play left center back. If you want to see Martinez in the back line, I think at best he's going to play through the middle. But even that, I think he's just going to come off the bench and play in the midfield. That's my 2 cents on it. Guys, if someone else wants to come have a chat, please feel free to join the pinned link in the description or in the live chat, and I've also put it in the description as well.
We might have some Punjabis joining this stream because they heard pinned.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of dad humor. Everyone my age is already a dad, and I'm compensating for it with the humor.
Yeah. Well, how do you explain these jokes like 10 years ago, though?
Child marriage.
Newcastle
Remember?
play with 3 center backs. Yeah.
Dude,
What's up?
remember back when you first went to university in Toronto and you were meeting people, and then people were trying their best to not be like ignorant or be insensitive to your background that you came from India, and then you tell
Yeah, I know
them
where this
that
is
you
going.
you have a wife.
No, I specifically, so there's this poor woman, friend of ours in first year. Me and my roommate, who was a white guy at the time, who saw the funny side to it. The two of us convinced some poor white girl that I had a child marriage when I was like 12 years old, and that her name was Karma. And I I had some ring at the time that like our mom had given us. There's like the snake ring or whatever. And I convinced her that that was the wedding ring, and I got married to her, and I've had no contact with her since. Right? It was just like a thing that happened, and she's like, "Well, do you have pictures?" I was like, "No, she lives in a remote area. Like, I don't really talk to her. She doesn't know what I'm doing. I don't know what she's doing." It was like a thing between the two families, and she believed it. Poor soul. Yeah.
Well, I told Sean yesterday that Shailin is a chakra practitioner, and Sean believed it. So people are trying so hard not to offend, right? That they will believe anything. Like I saw some people, very good, well-meaning people in our Discord community. You know, some people are like, "Merry Christmas to everyone who celebrates."
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, and that is like such a, it's so sad, right? That everything's become so political that everyone feels the need to self-censor. Like it's just Christmas. Like I would love to wish people happy Diwali in November or in October whenever Diwali comes, right? Irrespective of, like in India, we have so many religions existing at the same time. Muslims wish us happy Diwali. We wish them happy Diwali. On Eid, we wish them Eid Mubarak, right? We put a post on social media. I don't say Eid Mubarak to all the Muslims in the world, right? It's just Eid Mubarak. It's like it's a happy occasion for a few people, and I hope that
Yeah.
everyone
I
else is
agree. I
happy
mean,
too
here
on that day.
here too, right? Like we're not used to like Christmas where growing up for me, because I grew up in India, wasn't as big a thing, right? Because obviously we don't celebrate it as like a religious thing. Um so for me even now, it's not that as big a deal as it is to, those who are actually like actual Christians who do celebrate it. Uh but I love getting into the spirit. Like I'm wearing a Christmas sweater now just because it's Christmas, right? You just celebrate it with what's it called? When in Rome, right? That's what you do.
Yeah.
So Harsh
By the
Tanwar
way,
says, where in India? Where are you from? This reminds me of the Plancock guy who was like, "What's your name? Is Andy for Anirudh?" And then we told him it's Cristiano Ronaldo. Uh, yeah. Um, yeah, guys, it looks like we got a bunch of shy people today, man. Nobody wants to join the call.
I
Harsh,
promise I won't sneeze anymore.
we're both from Mumbai. Where are you from, man? This
Okay,
is
Joe,
next level
I'm
shit.
just gonna.
Yeah.
This is next level shithousery from you, Rishi. Oh yeah, the thing to Sean. Well, the thing with Sean is he's lived in LA, right? So he knows enough. Like in LA, people know enough surface level stuff about like the major things like yoga and whatever, like the chakras, and I'm pretty sure he calls it chakras, right?
Yeah.
So he tries to be most respectful, right? So he's not like those plastic LA people. Like he's a real guy. So fair enough. Love the guy, but every once in a while you gotta pull someone's leg, right? Keep them honest, keep their feet on the ground.
Well, to be fair, it's a close enough shout that even I was thinking for once. Did Shaylin say something about chakra practice? Is
Because
is
you're
this like
you're
a
also half
Gujarati thing?
white now, dude. You've lived
No,
in Canada
the
for so
term
long.
is the term is a coconut. Okay, brown on the outside, white on the inside.
To be fair, even when you're in India, you aren't brown on the outside, bro. You're like fair enough to pass off for a white guy.
Yeah, but then there's levels to this shit, like I'm not Kashmiri, or like
Yeah,
the the few Punjabis that are like super fair skinned as well.
yeah,
Don't know if this has been answered before, but why is your accent so different to Rishi's? I guess it's turning into a ask me anything, right? Let's do it.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
so different because Rishi wasn't blessed with the same level of education as I'm just kidding. I moved to Canada like in 2012, so I was 17, just about to turn 18. So I moved to Canada. I've been in Canada for a long time. We've been living apart for 13 years now, going on to 14. And even before that, I was in a boarding school and all that. So we've been not living in the same household for how long now, Rishi? Like
Almost 20 years.
2006,
2006, yeah.
right? 2006. So I think in 2026 summer it'll be officially, or no, 2026 March or something. It'll be officially 20 years, right?
No, no, July, dude. July. Your school year began in July, so it'll be yeah, July
But I would have
2026.
moved out from we would have moved from Bahrain like before that, right?
Not really. I mean, you were there. You did like part of your seventh grade in
Yeah.
Bahrain, and then you
And
started
then
school
joined again.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
almost 20 years now.
My my wife is saying she can join, but it won't be helpful. Yeah. Um, I think if Jack steps up in the next matches, we'll not get an 8. I was thinking it was a cricket shout for a second. I was like, why is he talking about Will Jacks?
Nelson says he'll
Oh,
join in a bit. Yes, Nelson, come on.
okay, let's do it.
Good to
Raphael's
see
here.
you here
Raphael,
on.
how you doing?
Hi,
Merry
the two
Christmas, my friend.
pundits. How your
Yes, Merry
chakras doing?
Raphael knows a thing or two about chakras. I appreciate that.
I wish you a Merry Chakramas.
Yes. Let's go. Let's go. Raphael's been
Well, it
waiting.
looks like today I'm sneezes.
I've been waiting to ask you a question for a while because you've been talking about. I want to know what you think. You've consistently talked about our XG being amazing, but we're still not scoring the goals enough. And my question was, has this team or the forwards that we have, is this their ceiling? Do you think they actually, I mean, I can see them getting a little better because obviously Sheshko and Cunha and Mbuma are still new and they're not gelling yet completely. But what do you think the actual ceiling is of these three players in particular, for us going forward? Do you think there's, because I've been wondering, why are we sort of still in this position of being so high with our XG, but not really delivering the goods?
Can I come in with the numbers real quick before Andy goes in with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
tactics and the individual
Mm,
players? Rafael, we have an XG of 34.8 according to Understat, and
yeah.
we have scored 31 goals. If Bruno scores those two penalties that he missed, we are on 33 goals from 34.8 XG. You have players like Cunha who are on 3 goals from 4.3 XG, right? So that is a little bit that adds up. Then you have a defender or a midfielder here and there who has underperformed from his XG. That again adds up. So if just these two or three things happen, right, we are on par with our XG. Now you look at another team like Arsenal, despite being so high on the league table, they are underperforming their XG even now because in the last 3 or 4 games they have performed very poorly. They have relied upon own goals and they've not their forwards have not been scoring. In fact, they have 0 goals from 6.16 XG in the last 3 or 4 games across competitions. So these are phases that come and go. I think I'll stop there because I think Andy has something more insightful to share maybe.
Well, that's very kind of you, Rishi, to assume that. But I'll say this. No, this is not the ceiling. To answer your question, Raphael, I think the players can be a lot better. I'm particularly looking at Cunha. I'm not ready to give up on Cunha yet, but I have to say I do have a concern that Cunha may not be as good as we thought he was in terms of the goal scoring specifically, right? Just the goal scoring. Because this is not Wolves anymore, right? And I think he's taking more longer than I thought he would to get used to the kind of system, right? Where I am very impressed with Cunha still is his physical capabilities, right? The way his body can handle just getting, if you watch any basketball, the players, the power forwards and the centers that play under the basket, they have to take a lot of hits, right? You have to take elbows, you need to be strong. And the player I always go back to is Dwight Howard. If you saw his shoulder caps, they're the size of my face. Okay. And so those are the types of players that take a lot of hits. And Cunha, for the style of player that he is, he doesn't necessarily have to take those hits. He doesn't have to take on the physical battles, but he does go into them all the time. And that does one of those intangible things to the opposition. Any player that goes up against him, the midfielders, they have an extra physical load onto them that you may not easily notice, right? It's not like misplacing a pass or something. It's just one of those accumulative things that puts pressure onto you. So I've been very impressed with Cunha, the midfielder, Cunha, the ball progressor, but I've been very disappointed by Cunha, the finisher. So let me put it that way. And so I don't think this is the ceiling. I think they do have a notch or two that they can still go up. And even Mbumo, right? Like he probably, instead of 7 goals, he probably should have been on 10 goals right now. And so that's the long and the short of it. The other problem is that we've been in this position of creating all these chances, even without Šeško being in the team for most of the games. So that's a bit of the concern. If you want my big picture concern in the Christmas spirit, I have to be honest. I'll say my big picture concern is that we may actually finish 8th this season. Because Bruno being out for these games, I have no faith. Like we could go lose against Burnley and I won't be surprised. Right. We could go lose against the Wolves as well, because they've been very close to winning some games. Like they put out a very good performance against Arsenal, for example. Right. And none of these players want to get relegated and go find another club in the summer. So they will turn it up for one of these games and it might just be against us. So I think this could be a season where we finish 8th and INEOS aren't really looking like they want to back the manager in January. Or rather, let me put it this way. They're not necessarily fully realizing the downsides of not backing him in January, because I think we're in for a shocker of a season if that happens, and it won't matter that it's not Amorim's fault. Amorim will get sacked, right? So that's my concern. I know it's a long-winded answer, but hopefully that answers your question.
Can I come back on that?
Yeah, of course.
I think something about Cunha, you're right. I think I was expecting more from Cunha as well. But I think one of the problems is Cunha doesn't have the sort of the backup or the support in terms of on the left wing back compared to Mbumo, who has Ahmad. We have, we all know who we have. And they're not delivering for him. So I think he's struggling in that way. Another thing, there's something about players like Cunha and Mount who maybe not have always the stats or something, but they bring something to the game, and that's probably why managers love Mount, because there's something about the way when they're in the game, even if they're not even touching the ball, they're making a difference somehow. And Cunha and Mount seem to be those kind of characters.
So
Would you say
Raphael,
that?
that je ne sais quoi that you're talking about, that has to do with following the tactical instructions to a T. If you watch, like what I would suggest you do next time you watch a United game, just focus on Mason Mount. Don't watch anybody else, right? Just focus on Mason Mount. You'll see a lot of times he is almost in the exact position that the managers asked him to be in, right? He will hold his position many times so that somebody else can go out wide, and there's always space for Dorgu to overlap, or there's always space for Shaw to underlap and come into midfield, right? That happens with somebody like Mount because sometimes, and I'll blame Cunha for this a little bit. Cunha, in the spirit of wanting to do too much, sometimes will try to go too deep, go too wide, or too forward. And that's why you'll see Amorim yelling at Cunha, but you'll never see Amorim yelling at Mount, right? And that's one of those things that you can't capture in a stat, right? You can't say like percentage of tactics followed during a game. Like that's not really a stat you can measure. So I think that's the reason. Like if you pay attention to Mount closely, listen, we have all of the issues, and Rishi's made some good points in the past about him just not being available. So what's the point if he can understand the tactics on the bench, right? So I understand that, but at the same time, like when he does play, that's why he has an outsized impact. Because sometimes I'll look at these players. Mount isn't a player that I would use on FIFA, for example, right, or a video game, because he doesn't have the pace, he doesn't have the physicality, he doesn't really have the main things that stand out. But he does in an actual game. He thrives because he can understand the tactics and he can execute them like almost flawlessly.
I think so. I think it's amazing. That's why we need him, actually. I really wish, I really hope he can stay fit. But on the other thing, I'm also worried about the big picture. And I predicted, I think maybe the very first time I came on your show, I thought we would be finishing 7th. And I was thinking that would be good, actually, after 15th. And one of the reasons I'm thinking about that, and I want to ask you, because you did a show about a kind of a decline of some Ollie time into Ten Hag, and I first started getting more involved into observing kind of teams and stuff, probably in the first year of Ten Hag. And I thought, this guy, he's got, he's won, he's got us to 3rd, he's got us to this, he's got us that. But actually, there was probably already a dip. If you think that the 10, sorry,
Raphael, 1 second. If you guys see on your screen, there's a little Easter egg. There's Luke Shaw as Santa Claus and Alessandro Martinez as the elf. Yeah. On the bottom right. But yeah, go for it, Raphael.
No, but when we finished, I think 7th or 8th with Rangnick and Ollie, I thought we were already a 15th team. If that team had played 10 more matches, say, we might have been really in the relegation, and we were already dropping. And so then I rethought. I thought, was that first season with Ten Hag a blip? And then we came back to already going downwards.
Yeah.
And we were going downwards in the second season with Ten Hag, injuries notwithstanding, and then further with Ruben, because he's had to do a lot of the dirty stuff that nobody else was doing.
Yeah. So to answer your question, Raphael, I don't think you need to look at the Rangnick season. You can actually look at the last season of Mourinho. And that was like the first season under Ollie was a blip. The second season under Ollie could also be considered a blip. And the blip in the sense, this is a really like high level like point. So stay with me for a second, and we'll come to Darshan. I know you've been waiting patiently in the background. Darshan's always trying to come on the calls, but it's always on during his work. So today's being Christmas, he's actually here, and I appreciate that. We'll talk to him in a second. But to answer your question, Raphael, the whole league as in general, since Pep Guardiola came in, has been going towards this modern total football style, right? Where they're playing tiki-taka, playing 65, 68% possession on average throughout the league. And they're trying to basically keep a hold of the ball, have inverted fullbacks, have wingers hold the width on the out wide and pack the midfield, right? Things like that, right? So that they have more space in the final third to incisively create chances. United have never gone to that, right? So it's essentially, if you know anything about economies, how most economies go is they go from agriculture to manufacturing to services, right? That's usually how it happens. Now, to get into some Indian history, the Indian economy went from agriculture straight to services because of the call centers and all that. We never had the manufacturing boom, right? And that's how I feel about United as an analogy, where we went from the Sir Alex Ferguson era of, kind of playing whatever is in front of us straight to the services with Ruben Amorim, which is the system football. In between, we have skipped any type of system, any types of tactics. We were just kind of buying players, waiting on individual brilliance to make it happen. So I would actually argue everything since Sir Alex to now has kind of just been a blip, right?
Yeah.
Anything positive that's happened has been individual players pulling us out of, pulling a rabbit out of a hat. And like David De Gea, that season under Mourinho where we finished second, David De Gea was the best keeper in the world, right? And to be fair, he probably did deserve the big contract that he got, even though the club had to pay it. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. But let's just go to Darshan really quickly. Darshan, how you doing, man? Nice to finally have you on the show.
Hey, good afternoon, good evening, Rishi, Andy, and Rafael. Nice to finally
Hey,
meet you
Darshan.
guys. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah, you're very
Are you
clear.
able to hear me?
Go on. Yes,
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 yes.
Darshan, go on.
Yeah, yeah. Just I want to take 2 minutes. I get to finally meet you guys, Andy, Rishi, and get to talk to you guys. I really appreciate what all content you are putting out here. Um, why I was one of the earliest subscribers to your channel, Andy. I know last year you had some problems, so you were not able to like put out videos. But I was genuinely very happy when you became active again in this season. What I like about your channel is you guys take topics and you discuss all the nuances, all the angles, and all the perspectives, right? Like you bring one kind of perspective, Rishi brings one kind of perspective, Nelson brings another perspective. So it's like a thinking man's YouTube channel. So that's what I like about you guys. Like I'm more of a wise guy. Like what I come to you guys is to understand different perspectives of how people think on particular topic, like Mason Mount being playing or not playing. What about Kobe? Kobe fits into the team or does not fit into the team. And yeah, that's what I like about you guys. And it's for if I compare your channel with the other channels, like they dedicate maybe 1 or 2 minutes to a particular topic, which is like not enough. Like there's so much deep analysis which we need to do and come to a conclusion, which you guys I am trying to do, is what I like about your channel, and that's why I've been like kind of regularly following. I unfortunately can't come to your videos because it clashes with my work timings. So I tend to follow whatever you guys put out content in the afternoon time, right? In the evening once I'm done with my work. And if I have any feedback, I just post it on Discord. So today
Yeah.
was one of my free days. That's why I was like I jumped onto your StreamYard
Yeah.
link, and yeah.
Don't worry, Darshan. We'll be here on New Year's Day as well. So we'll see you on New Year's Day. Because you're gonna be off
Yeah.
on New Year's as well, right? But yeah, Darshan.
Yep,
So
yep.
listen, first of all, thank you so much for the kind words, man. That means a lot. I think feedback like this, I always, even in my work that I do, I always like to say it's important to look at the positives as well as the negatives, because there's a lot to understand from both sides, right? Because often too much focus is put towards negative feedback in terms of what can we improve, what does somebody doesn't like, but you tend to forget that 90, 95, 98% of your viewer base is watching you because of the positive stuff. So you giving us positive feedback actually helps us improve the content for that 95, 98% that's already watching. So I really appreciate it, man, from the bottom of my heart. I'm sure Rishi does as well. I'm sure Raphael does as well, as part of the community, because that was a compliment to the whole community, not just us.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we're just the faces
Yeah,
of
it's
it.
not just you two.
Yeah,
Yeah, not just you
yeah,
two guys. Even Nelson, even Shailin, even Be
yeah,
Cool. Everyone, like, even who come with a negative perspective, right? Even for them, like, it's good. Like, they are given an opportunity to like put out their views. That's what I like about
yeah.
your channel.
Yeah, I appreciate that a lot. Second thing I'll say is I have been thinking about doing multiple live shows a day. Maybe not all of them be call-ins. Maybe have some mix of type of content, right? So we can accommodate more time zones and stuff like that. Because the timing that I do the show in right now is almost impossible for somebody in North America to join. And also for Raphael, he's got to ruin his chakras to come watch the show. Uh,
I'm going.
but yeah, exactly. Wax on, wax off, right? But yeah, appreciate that a lot, Darshan. But I have to ask you a question since you've been so nice to us. I want to hear your thoughts. How do you feel about Ruben Amorim? How do you feel about the project? Do you actually think he survives by the end of the season? And what are give me a forecast, right? Like, do you think best case scenario this happens, worst case scenario this happens?
Best case scenario, we kind of overperform in the latter half of the season, right? When all our AFCON players are back, and even when Maguire, Delic come back, we kind of we are seeing good numbers right now. We underperforming is what you have commented, but we compensate that with all the injured players coming back in the latter half of the season, and we push for that fourth or fifth spot. Maybe even fifth is also good enough for Champions League based on how English teams do. But I don't want to get into a perspective of Ruben Amorim being in or out. What I believe is I take the comments given by like the leadership, right? Like Jim Ratcliffe and Jason Wilcox. They want to give him time. They want to give him resources, but yeah, it depends on our squad doing well as well. So if I don't want to put a perspective saying, okay, if he finishes fourth or if he finishes eighth, he will be out, or if he finishes fourth, he will be in. It's more like a lot of nuances will be involved. That's what I told recently as well. Like if we miss maybe we finish seventh or eighth, but we miss the European spots by a whisker of 1 or 2 points, I think he survives because maybe he has done well enough to like back him for another season. But if he is like if it goes downhill, like in terms of performances, in terms of all these underlying metrics, I think yeah, questions will be asked of him. But on an overall perspective, I feel good enough that we will be doing well. Maybe we might not finish fourth, but I will be happy with a Europa League spot as well. I think it will be a good build up for us next season where we can get more players because we have that money from the playing in the European competitions, and we can
Darshan,
add
what do
more
you
to
think?
this.
Sorry, what do you think is realistic now that we don't have Bruno? Uh, where do you think we end up?
It's a very difficult topic. It's a very difficult answer to give. What I again said in the Discord chats is like Bruno is like a Swiss Army knife, right? He does so many things in terms of chance creation and goal creation that burden has to be taken up by other people in the team now, which is like Mount, Cunha, and Sesko. So that's what I am hoping to see next 3-4 games. That if that is the case and if it really happens, then it's a very good sign for us. Like even when the other players come back, right? They will also have they will also take some time to gel. It's not like Ahmad Bruno or Ahmad or Mbumo directly come in and start playing. They will also need time to cope up with the speed and everything. So I would really want the output of Cunha and Mount and Sesko to increase in these next 3-4 games. But yeah, we just can hope. Let's see what happens on the field.
Yeah, I just on that, Darshan. Can we just get lucky for once, right? Just have a lucky
Yeah, yeah,
win. I'll take it.
yeah. We need a lot of luck. Like we have luck, but it's like a kind of bad luck. We have not been like all the underlying metrics look good, right? And still we are not able to get a result. Like we have scored what like 9 goals in last 3 games, and we just have 1 win, and that's very bad. So we need some kind of luck in these next 3-4 games without Bruno and without so many problems we have, right? So many
Yeah.
players missing. So yeah, we need that kind of luck. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Andy,
Go ahead.
do you think you're asking about Ruben's chances? Like in every single game, even when we lose, I'm seeing something really positive. Somewhere, some part of the team is doing something that's positive, and you've commented on it, I think, as well. But I don't think it's going to be enough for Ruben. I'm really pessimistic, which is very sad for me because I think he's a good manager, and if we could keep him, I think he'd do well. But I don't think he's been backed.
So you're saying the performances are not enough. We need results as well.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to get the backing that he needs. He didn't get the backing sufficiently, in my view, in summer. He didn't get the backing in January. You know, we wanted Kenda and we got Dorgu or something like that. We haven't really delivered yet, but I think that he's still going to have to probably go because they'll say someone has to go, someone has to carry the can almost, and I think that's really sad because I think he's got a lot going for him at the moment.
So Raphael, we discussed this in the Stat Patters episode that we did with Shaylin, right? Where Rishi asked Shaylin this question, which is, you know, what do you think happens if Ruben Amorim's holding up his end of the bargain, but INEOS are not, right? INEOS aren't delivering him the players or the squad, right? In the slider from 0 to 1 between whose fault it is. If it's more towards INEOS, would they still blame Amorim and sack Amorim at the end of the day? And I think the point that Shaylin made was that I think they haven't sacked him now because they believe that it's not Amorim's fault, right? Because you could argue there's many people who say, like, rival fans love to say, like, oh, any other club, any other blah blah blah, you know, this manager gets sacked. Guys, look at Tottenham, right? There's more clubs that are failures by sacking their manager than are successful, because people love to bring up the Chelsea example and say they keep sacking managers and keep winning. That is the exception to the rule, right? That's not the rule. So if we sack Amorim now, I think INEOS understands we hit reset on this project and it's going to set us back many years, if not, you know, make sure that we never win for another 10 years, right? So I think this is a process that we have to go through. Not every club's rebuild looks the same. I think when you see the Liverpool rebuild under Klopp, they were never 15th. When you see the Arteta rebuild with Arsenal, they were never 15th. But they also didn't have, the league wasn't as competitive even 3 years ago as it is today, right? So I hear you in terms of the concern, and that's the same concern that I have, right? Because we could all be right about Ruben and he still gets sacked. And then what are you going to do in that situation?
I believe you. I think INEOS do support him, and they think it's not his fault. But maybe their hand will be forced by, say, we become 9th. The fan pressure will be incredible. I mean, I don't agree. I think even 9th is still progress, given how much resources we've put in, given the players we've recruited, some of the players we haven't got out. I think 9th is an improvement. But the fan pressure, the media pressure is going to be so strong. I'm not sure that INEOS even then would be able to withstand that.
I think so. If I may, Rishi, 1 second. I'll say 1 second, Rishi. I'll say with Bruno in the team, I was hoping for 6th at worst. Even with Bruno gone for as long as he's going to be gone, not only am I worried about 8th or 9th, I'm actually worried that we might even lose the first FA Cup game against Brighton and be out of that competition as well. So I think Bruno being gone for any period, plus when he comes back, now we have to watch his minutes a little bit, right? Because he probably has to come off in the 80th minute. And we know how many goals we've conceded in the last 10 minutes, right? So maybe he can't put the same load on his body in that midfield either. So all of these reasons are just telling me that if we don't get any midfielders in January, even honestly, go get Conor Gallagher. It's not my first choice, but go get him through the door because he can take some load off of some of our other players. And I'm just looking at the season very worried now. But I think Bruno being missing for even these 4 or 5 games pushes us down from 6th to 8th, in my opinion. If Rishi, go ahead. What were you going to say?
So, Rafael, we were having this conversation on Discord just before this live began, and Ryan, in fact, was making the point. Hi, Ryan. I know you've been patiently waiting for quite some time.
Hi,
I'm
mate.
going to throw it back to you immediately after this because I think what you said made a lot of sense. Ryan was of the opinion that I think they are past all of listening to the pressure and all of that, and I agree because the last time this board gave in to pressure, they kept Ten Hag in the job when they wanted to fire him. After the FA Cup win, all the fans said that Ten Hag should get one more chance. He should be backed by a proper board, by a proper footballing think tank.
Mm.
And when they gave him that opportunity, he messed up. Like they couldn't wait to fire him. So that was the incorrect decision from their end, just because they gave in to fan pressure. I think with a private equity kind of a setup, when they make one mistake, they cross their hearts and hope to die, right? That kind of a thing. That they will not repeat that mistake again. So they are not going to listen to fan sentiment. I'm confident of that. And it's a good thing because if you have one authority kind of running the show, they should not be swayed by popular opinion because then anyone can come and corrupt that opinion, right? So that's one thing I'm
Yeah.
confident about. The second thing is there is enough in the underlying numbers to show that this manager will continue to stay on. Because I'll tell you what, Andy and I, the episode before the one we did with Shailin, uh, where we kind of analyzed the last 5 games, right? Where we had predicted 7 points back in November, and then we ended up with 8 points. So that sort of a review, sort of a start parters episode. We went back and looked at the XG, XGA expected points of all the seasons since Louis Van Gaal's first season, because that is the first season where we have data. And without exception, we have always hovered around 60, 62, 65 expected points in every season. And in some of those seasons, we've gone up to even 75 points, 80 points, 81 points under Jose, right? In that season, we had 70 expected points, I believe, and we ended up with 81. The one common thread was that we have always overperformed the expected points. Even in the season with Ronaldo, where we ended up with 58 points with Rangnick, we were expected to get 56 or 54 points. We should have finished below Crystal Palace in that season. We were very lucky to get Europa League for the next season. So in every single season, we have overperformed. The only, and in fact, I'll tell you the amount of overperformance in Ten Hag's last full season when we won the FA Cup. Our expected points were 44. We ended up with 60. I don't think there has ever been that level of overperformance. I think Aston Villa might beat that record this season. Expected points of 44 and the table points reflect 60 points. So there has been crazy overperformance. The only time there has been an underperformance is last season, Amorim's first season, where we were expected to finish at 52 points and we finished on 42 points, right? So there is this trend, like you said very early on when you came in, that even before, even while Ten Hag was here and we were winning trophies, it looked like we were trending downwards. And you are right, we were trending downwards. It's just that false positions on the table, we kept performing better than we should have been. Individual talent, that one season, 4 or 5 months that Rashford did a madness, right? We did crazy things. So that is the reason we had these over performances. So now from 40, 44, 66 points in Ten Hag's first season to 44 points in his second season to 52 points in Amorim's first season. And now that I do the math at the current position where we are expected to get to 64 points. Now that, according to me, is close to 22% overperformance. Even Amorim in his first season overperformed the previous metric by 18%. And in this season, with just 4 new players, he's overperforming it by close to 20-22%, right? That is huge. Like that sort of a jump is huge. If we, of course, there's been, Bruno's been probably in the team of the season based on current performances up to this in the first 16 games. That is an exception. So Andy,
Sorry,
you're on mute.
Jamie Carragher. Yeah. Jamie Carragher selected him in the team of the season. So that
I'm not
tells you how
surprised.
well
Yeah,
Bruno's
because
been doing.
yeah. So I'm
There's
just
one more
saying
thing
that.
that
Yeah.
no,
Go for
there's
it.
one
Go
more
for
thing
it.
we need to think about. He could walk. He might say, "I've done." At the end of the season, he finishes 9th, say. And I mean, this job is a tough job. You see, every manager gets older, grayer.
Raphael, let's hold that thought. Let's hold that thought if he could walk, and let's go to Ryan because he's also been waiting to chime in there. Ryan, your thoughts?
Hey mate. Yeah. So a couple of thoughts. As Rishi said, I think they're past caring about what fans think, what media thinks, what anyone thinks. Oh, sorry. Actually, I do need to do one thing before I carry on. I forgot to say earlier. Great to be on with Sameeks. Big fan of the channel as well. Don't always agree with you, especially about Bruno, but I tend to agree more than I disagree. But yeah, to carry on, I think the other big thing for me is I think it's been a season of fine margins. I think we could have easily been only 5% better than we have been and be 9 to 12 points better off. Not even just us either. I don't know if anyone's seen the complaint that United have made about the refereeing mistakes.
Yeah,
but they think that there is between 9 to 10 points that likely could have been earned by United without refereeing mistakes that the PGMOL have admitted they got wrong. If we had 9 more points, nobody would be doubting whether or not we would be keeping Amorim. Everyone would be absolutely ecstatic. We've had Bruno missing penalties when has he missed half of his career penalties this season or something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
We've had a massive lack of scrappy goals, which is one thing that I think is something that people don't appreciate.
Sorry, Ryan. We've made up for the lack of volume by scoring the scrappiest goal you'll ever see in Premier League history with the Wolves goal that Bruno scored. That has to be the scrappiest goal in Premier League history. But I take your point.
Yeah, but it's like the goals where you shoot and you get a deflection that just flies in, or you shoot, the keeper saves it, and then someone taps it in. Like, I watch other teams, and the amount of times I'm watching them thinking, how on earth have they won this game? If this was United, we'd have got battered, and I'm just watching the most ridiculous circumstances ever just cause a ball to fly into the top corner, and I'm just like, we're meant to be the Red Devils, and everyone else seems to have the look of the devil. I mean, like, look at the Arsenal game at the start of the season, for example. That could have changed the narrative so much. Like, we should have won that game. We had a decision not go for us with Cunha in the penalty. We had them practically holding Bayindir down. Dorgu hit the post. We hit the post, I think it was 4 or 5 times in the first 3 games. Like, it's just crazy. So I think INEOS are going to look at it and go, regardless of what the actual league performance is, how far off have we actually been from being further up the table? And I don't think that the reality is that we've been that far off. And yeah, I just, as I say, I think that they're at the point where the fan anger is just something you've got to ignore. And the final thing I'll say is, and this is a bit of a history lesson, but when Alex Ferguson finally started to be successful, the owner at the time, Martin Edwards, was asked why they kept Fergie through the trouble and not any of the other previous managers. And he said that, unlike every other manager, Alex Ferguson never stopped believing in himself. He said every other manager we had visibly stopped believing that they were able to get it done. And Fergie never did. And I think Amorim is the same kind of character. Like you saw in a press conference recently, he said, on the pitch, I am failing the club, but off the pitch, I am not failing this club. I can guarantee you that. And I think he genuinely believes
the
that.
Standards,
and I think that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll stop talking now because that was a long one.
No, I hear you, and that's a lot of good points there. We'll go to Semix and then we'll go to Nelson. Semix, your thoughts here.
Hey, I'm glad Rishi is still on the call because I wanted to bring this up because of some things I heard about the INEOS talk and some of the data that you guys brought up. So I still have to. You guys like data on this channel, which is great, and data is always based on historical events. It's not based on future events. It's based on something that happened in the past. You look at the numbers and you make sense out of it. If we look at the numbers, and we talk about INEOS running a football club, we have to look at OGC Nice, and we have to talk about how they had 7 managers in 5 years. You can't now all of a sudden pretend that that wasn't them. That was them. That was Sir Jim Ratcliffe. That was INEOS. They decided to let go of 7 managers in 5 years, and some of those managers are really good. Actually, one of them I would take if we had to sack Ruben. I don't want to sack Ruben. But if they decided they were going to let him go, there's one manager that they let go of at OGC Nice that I would take as our next step because I like the way he plays, and that's Farioli. But other than that, like, I don't see evidence that INEOS is smart enough to keep Amorim around. I don't see evidence that they're going to look at the data the way you guys are looking at the data or the way I look at the data. I agree with everything you said, but I don't trust that they see that. And then what I saw 2-3 games ago when I saw Sir Jim Ratcliffe yelling at Wilcox in the stands makes me believe that I'm right. He doesn't see the game. He doesn't see that we shouldn't be losing this game. Don't yell at Wilcox. It's not Wilcox's fault that, you know, one of our youngster defenders didn't step into the right position. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, but he doesn't see that.
I think the point. Semix, the thing is, first of all, you got to stop making so much sense, because if Nelson agrees with you anymore, he'll need a neck brace. Because the amount of nodding I see from him right now.
By the way, can I say something to Nelson? I love seeing you around, man. Can I give you like a little piece of advice? Can we move your camera down a little? Because
it's on my it's a webcam. I'd have to like move it all over.
Your head is so far from the thing. Like
it's on my PC.
Semix, it's like one of those,
this, you know what I mean? Like
it's either it goes up or it goes all the way down, which I'm like, nah.
No, we don't want to see that. But Semix, you know what it is? You know those sometimes you'll see like a really low quality meme and it's like it's funnier than any of the high quality memes. That's what it is. If you saw Nelson in like a fully produced video, you wouldn't enjoy it anymore.
We need to get instead of the camera, we need to get you a chair that goes up a little higher.
My desk is so low. I actually, but let me just clarify.
Yeah, go on.
Everything you've said first before we go into dissing my camera angle. When it comes to I've been saying this multiple times quietly at Andy's streams. I've said, where is all of this confidence that INEOS are actually going to do something different when they've done it at 2 clubs? It's not just OGC Nice.
By the way, I have an answer for what Semix said as well, and and I'm assuming you want the same answer.
Sure,
so you
please
let me
go
know
ahead.
If you want to finish your context.
No, please go ahead. I'd actually like to hear your answer.
Yeah,
so I'll tell you.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Let me. I know exactly what you're saying, Semix, and we've talked about this before. In fact, Ryan might have been the one who brought this up before, because we had this conversation of like, how much of the FC Lausanne and Nice context do we actually take into this with INEOS, right? First thing, Lausanne and Nice are not even in the same realm of institution as United, right? And in football, even though they are all football clubs, the decision making, the impact, the brand image, all of those things change the game completely, right? Like how difficult it is or how easy it is to manage a club in the Premier League compared to how difficult or easy it is somewhere else is a completely different ballgame. Can we all agree on that? Yes?
No.
No.
And I'll tell you why I disagree. Can I do one for a second? I'll tell you why I disagree.
Okay, sure.
Nice were the 4th best team when they bought them. They were the 4th best team.
Lausanne got relegated the first season in which they bought them.
But I'm saying historically, Nice have been a really strong team.
Nice, and I don't know anything about Lausanne. I'll talk to you about Nice. But
Nice as a market is a big market. It's not like a small town in France. It's a big town. Dude, Manchester United in terms of scale is massive.
Hold on, we're comparing Jupiter to one of its moons.
Okay.
Like Man United is not.
But the guy who flew the ship to Jupiter also flew it to the moon. Like we're still talking about Sir Jim Ratcliffe. I don't care if he bought a Bentley or a Ford. The way he drove the Ford might be the same way he drives the Bentley. I'm sorry, Andy, but like that analogy to me is like saying, well, now that he bought a Ferrari,
hold on a second. The driving, the metaphors are going all over the place because he didn't drive Nice to where they were before he purchased them, and he didn't drive United to where we were before he purchased them, right? They were already that stature before he came into the picture. Yes or no?
Can I just in the spirit of INEOS and the Grenadiers, can I throw in a grenade and run away and then see how you guys react to it? If they wanted to operate the way they operated at Nice, they would have fired Amorim already at the end of the season, or after the Grimsby game, or after the Brentford game. The fact that they didn't make those decisions is what gives me hope. I'm not here to give credits and throw flowers and offer a garland to Sir Jim Ratcliffe and welcome him with a hula dance or hula hoop dance or whatever. I'm here to just keep them honest and just kind of see what things they're doing right. So in my opinion, they could have done all those things earlier. The fact they didn't gives me hope. Now you guys are free.
I have a reason why they didn't fire him.
Yeah,
it's in his contract. It's Amorim's contract. Hold on. 1 second. Let me answer his question. His question is, why didn't they fire Amorim after the poor start he did in last season? I think it was pretty clear that the reason why they didn't fire him was, one, his contract probably has a really large release clause. If you fire him, was it the first 6 months of his tenure?
It was within the first year.
So within the first year. So he
didn't want to come. So I'm sure his manager put a stipulation in a contract going, listen, you're dragging my guy out of a winning team in the middle of a season. You can't sack him after this season, no matter what. I mean, anybody
pay me a lot of money. It'd be such a lump sum amount that'd look stupid. Like something like 10, 20 million. That's the only reason.
There was a 6 million clause in his contract.
6 million
for being sacked in the first year. Or it was 12 million or 6 million, one of those numbers, and then it drops to 6 million. I think if they want to fire him today, they have to pay him 6 million. I think it halved after the first calendar year.
So if I may, so the first thing I want to say, because I still haven't answered Semix's question, which is why do I have so much faith in INEOS? The answer is I don't. I'm actually closer to you guys than it might appear, because my point isn't that INEOS will do these things, right? The idea is, based on the decision-making they've had so far, based on the people they've put in charge, it's not actually about Sir Jim, right? It's actually about Barada. It's about Wilcox. It's about Vivel. It's about all the people they've put into the leadership positions that they didn't have at Nice, that they didn't have at Lausanne, right? These guys, Barada, hold on, Nelson.
Okay, sorry.
This guy, Barada, was at Barcelona with Soriano, right? When they won the sextuple back in 2011, like the first time Guardiola was there. He was the guy under the guy who worked for Soriano, so did a lot of the groundwork at City as well. And it was pretty clear that he wasn't going to get the big job. We discussed all of this with Shaylin in the last episode. And bringing him in and bringing all of these guys to make the decisions, and also the fact that they got rid of, who's that guy? The gardening guy, Dan Ashworth, yeah. They got rid of him as soon as they realized that this guy wasn't really about the data and it wasn't really about modern football in the way that they wanted him to be. Gives me a lot of faith, right? So that's what I'm operating on. I'm operating on faith based on what I've seen. And to your earlier point, the first thing you said, Semix, which is data is always looking at the past. I actually think that's a bit of a misnomer, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to look at historical trends and see if we can forecast something from that, right? And so the idea is to
look
forecast
at a historical trend and say, oh, but the future is going to be different.
And
right?
You're looking
at the relevance. Hold on, Semix. You don't just treat all data points the same. There are some data points that are more relevant than others. And my point is, if to predict what they're going to do at United, let's see what they've done at United, not over
Andy,
everything at Nice and Lausanne.
Go ahead.
If you don't mind, apologies.
Yeah,
but,
go ahead.
I know India has a massive options trading platform. I know Indians love options trading. And one of the things when you're doing options trading is you do back tests, which is you look at a specific date on a stock and you see, is it whatever the expected outcome versus actual. Let me give you two things that they've done, both at Nice and at United. They brought in a football director, which in our case was Dan Ashworth, and they fired him. And the reason why they fired him was because of the same reasons they hired Ashworth. They were like, we believe this guy's good. And to be fair, I agree with the firing. If
Wait,
someone, if
they
it's
fired
true
him
that
because they
he's
thought he was good.
no, like, they thought Dan Ashworth was good.
They brought him in because they thought it was.
Let's clarify. The only reason they waited for Dan Ashworth is they believed he was good.
Yeah.
And then once they brought him in, they were like, "Oh, he doesn't. We don't agree with everything he says." But to be fair with Dan Ashworth, I think Dan Ashworth was right on certain things. One, changing to a 3-4-2-1 early in the season, we're going to struggle. He was right there. They said no. He was wrong on Southgate Frank.
Yeah.
He was wrong on this.
Very wrong.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Very
no,
wrong.
Hold on.
that's my point.
Hold on.
but-
We're talking about
Nelson is
relevance
not-
of data points. Isn't the
Yeah, but
relevance of Garrett Southgate being him being wrong on that
Yeah, but dude,
more important
Nelson's
than the
not
other
saying
thing?
he wanted to keep Dan
No,
Ashworth. So
I'm
that's
saying
not what he's
he
So
should have
that's
been
not-
fired, but he should have been fired. That part is true. But I'm saying if you look at the back test between INEOS and Manchester United, they have been doing the exact same things. They sell their best players. They always do that. They sold Kefren Thuram, who's a guy I rate. I've been saying I love him. I would love him at United. Gesson, the best player last season, they sold him. They did the same thing at Lausanne. And look at us. You hearing? What are the people you heard on the list of being sold? It's Bruno. It's Rashford. It's Kobe. It's Garnacho.
No, but Rashford isn't. No,
Wait,
come
what-
on.
what-
Rashford,
No,
Rashford, Kobe, Garnacho are not our best players.
Even if
We're
you
not-
put
we're not-
our-
yeah, but
I'm
he's
talking
saying,
about
like-
performances. Our best performers are the ones who are being listed
Well,
as being
also,
sold.
like-
All of them.
Also, though,
Rashford is
you
not
can
our best
translate-
performer.
hold on.
Come on, neither is Kobe.
Rishi. This could be
I don't know what
translated.
stats you're looking at, but sure.
This could be
Rashford has been
translated
one of our best
into
performers.
they
No, these are every
Yeah, okay.
these are every stat that we've seen. When was the last time Rashford performed after winning his mega contract, dude? Like since February of 2023, he has not performed for this club.
Season and a half, he's been good in his entire United career. Let's not do revisionist history here.
Yeah, but
he has
We can pull up the
translate
stats. Like Rashford has been either way. If we play our current squad prior to the guys that brought in, who would have been our best players? It would have been Cass, Bruno, Rash, Garnacho.
That tells you how low the standards have dropped in the
Yeah,
squad.
exactly.
No, I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you, but
Yeah,
I'm saying
yeah.
it's the same.
If you don't-
but go on. Sorry, Sim.
if you don't mind, Nelson, I want to change the
Yeah.
because we're going to just argue about Rashford and Garnacho.
Yeah.
And stuff, and like I don't want to do that. What I want to say is that the one best hire they made was Omar Barada because Omar brought Jason Wilcox. Can we all agree on that?
Yeah.
Andy?
I said that before. I said that like 2 minutes ago. Yeah.
Okay, no.
Yeah.
Time out. Omar Barada is the only hiring that hunted them. They didn't go to him. He sent his own message to them that I'm interested in the job. If you're interested to interview me, anybody they wanted to go to, like Dave Brailsford, like Dan Ashworth, were shit ideas.
Mhm.
So the only good idea they had landed on their lap. Do you understand? It wasn't their idea. They got lucky that Omar Barada wanted the job and put his name in the hat. They didn't ask.
Wait, is this like? Are you on the INEOS board? Like, where are you?
No.
getting
This was
information
an
from?
athletic article, buddy. This is not
Yeah.
me talking.
No,
This
he's
is
right.
an athletic article.
I
Well,
don't
unless
understand
they lied
this.
in that
this-
article. No,
Can I
but
say
what I'm
something
saying,
here?
but
Hold
what
on,
I'm
Sammy.
saying
The
is,
way
like,
to bring
hold
this
on.
up is there was an athletic article where they said that
Okay,
Barada
well, I
wanted
thought
to go.
you would know
you
about
don't.
it
You
'cause,
don't do
like,
this
you guys-
athletic
you guys-
article buddy
You guys
stuff.
follow
Like,
the
what is
news
the point
as
of
much
that?
as I do. You guys follow
There's
the
a
news as
chance
much
I've
as I
missed an
do.
article, bro.
No.
You can't just be like it was in
Okay,
the
well,
athletic
then-
article, buddy.
Ask,
You have
and
to
I'll
point out the
answer,
article.
Right? Like, ask the question.
Well,
and
how
I
about you
answer.
bring it up in the right way and you just say this was in the specific athletic article, Sammy?
I'm sorry,
That's how
I
you bring
didn't
up a
bring
point.
it up in the
Yeah.
sequence you wanted me to bring it
yeah,
up.
yeah, better. You better
My-
be sorry.
I think the point is my actual point. Doesn't matter how I brought it up. The point is that the one decision that we all are thanking our lucky stars that happened is Omar Barada coming in and Jason Wilcox coming in. And that idea or decision wasn't theirs. It landed on their lap and they got super lucky with that idea or decision. Now, that doesn't mean anything, by the way, guys, because any successful businessman has to have some luck go his way. So I'm not putting that as a negative, but what I'm saying is, are they going to keep listening to these guys? And then the other thing is when we're talking about them and we talk about how the football structure is and how we're going forward, are we saying that we're all happy with the funds they made available last summer? Are we saying that INEOS did the right thing with the funds available last summer, or should they? Because it's obvious to me that Sir Jim Ratcliffe thought we would be better in on the table than we are now. It's obvious to me that Sir Jim Ratcliffe does not think we're performing at the standard he expected this season. All of us agree that this is our standard. All of us are saying we should finish somewhere between 9th and 7th. But it's obvious to me that's not what Sir Jim Ratcliffe thinks.
Sir Jim Ratcliffe said in an interview, this team is the fourth best team in the league. He literally said that. And
Nelson, we've addressed that. We've addressed this before. You brought it up before, and we have addressed it before. But he can't go out and make a statement that that this team is crap. We haven't invested enough money, so this team deserves to finish 7th or 9th. If the team hears that, they're going to finish 11th.
Also, hold on, Rishi, hold on. Semix, hold on. Yeah. Don't you think him yelling at Jason Wilcox is the idea that you didn't give him the right players, or we didn't bring in the right players? If he was yelling at Amorim in public, I would hear you on the fact that he's not happy with Amorim. Like, isn't the whole point of arguing with Jason Wilcox that he hasn't done well enough with the players?
One of the things that we have to remember, every single one of these, on Semic's point, Barada might become a good CEO. We still got to see. It's still early days. Jason Wilcox is still very early in his career. None of if you look at Ratcliffe, Brailsford, these other two, Barada and Wilcox, they've got less experience of winning at the top level in football than actually Ruben Amorim. Ruben Amorim is a winner. They haven't won anything yet in their position.
Rafael, I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I'm reading the StreamYard chat, and Shaylin says that Semix has got that entirely wrong. Because he was a Jean-Claude Blanc hire. Shaylin, please come in and please have a go at Semix.
Yeah, okay, so I'll go both Semix and INEOS.
No, wait. Can you share the article where you're getting this information from first, Shaylin?
That's what I'm looking for right now.
Let's make it fair. Yeah, let's make it fair to everybody instead of saying you should have read this.
It's funny how YouTube works, right? Like, people just realize that some beef has started somewhere. Suddenly, the number of people watching has gone up.
That's crazy. What do you think? That's what I do to.
No, but
I get into start beef.
So, anyways, it's that. When they hired Dave Brailsford, they've also said that Dave Brailsford was going to be a temporary appointment. He was not necessarily going to be somebody that's going to sit there for the
Dave
long
Brailsford,
time.
yes, not Dan Ashworth.
Yes. But same thing with Jean-Claude Blanc as well. They said that was going to be a temporary appointment in terms of just being able to right the ship and right the structure, and then they were going to put him back into his position inside of INEOS.
I honestly thought Jean-Claude Blanc was coming in to be the CEO. I was surprised when it was announced that it was a temporary thing.
No, he wasn't coming.
Wait, so Shaylin, you're saying Barada didn't wrap himself up in a Christmas box and present himself in front of Old Trafford?
They were looking for people to hire, obviously. Like, they had a search out for it, but it wasn't necessarily like Barada came to them and said, okay, hey, like whatever. Like in terms of this headhunt type situation. Obviously, there's a few things, right? Jean-Claude Blanc was always going to be a temporary position because he was hired under INEOS. He wasn't necessarily hired directly by Manchester United. And I think that's a key point there too. With the whole Dan Ashworth thing, the reason why they even let him go in the first place was one, on Amorim's, second day, he went on vacation. And that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And then the other part I think that Sir Jim got really fed up with was when he was looking for, give me a name, right? He said we should hire an external company to do the research on our behalf and not necessarily perform it ourselves. That's where Sir Jim got pissed off and said, you know what, this isn't the right guy. And then the third thing too is Dan Ashworth was seen as an operations guy, not as a transfer guru or anything like that. And this is what people inside of the club that said, right? Like, he comes off as very personable and very likable, but he wasn't, some guy who was suggesting different types of names or anything like that. He was very much just like, oh, hey.
He put together the football structure for England, right? Like, yes, the England FA. He put the structure together.
Yeah.
He had that spoke approach of being like, I'm in the middle. I bring in all the experts around me.
Yes.
And that's
Yeah.
why he was referring to probably the
And he
external
was
team to come
buddies
in and
with
But I was
Statistical.
never excited by this whole Dan Ashworth thing because whatever coverage I read of him, it was this whole spoke nonsense that I'm in the middle, I keep the wheel spinning, and everyone branches out from me. I'm like, dude, even a person with half a brain can do that job. Like tomorrow, if our famous INEOS hater Nelson is up for that job, I would nominate him for that job. Not that I'm
We-
suggesting you have half a
don't
brain,
want
dude. I mean, you're an intelligent dude. I'm saying
No, I
that
don't want it.
I'm saying that it's not that difficult to be like, be cool, be smart, put out like this guy said, let's hire an external agency. Like if today they put me in that job, I'm like, oh, I don't know much about managers over here. How about we hire an external agency to do that job? It was such a
No.
poor hiring, and I think that's the reason they effed off Brailsford as well as soon as they got rid of Ashworth.
Yeah.
Because
There was
such a
a-
poor
No,
hire, and
but-
there are just some people who
Yeah.
just
But can we go?
Some
Can
people
we go
who
back
just
to the
work
point?
better
Can we
in
go
a-
back to Can we go back to Semix's point about this INEOS team? Let's
Yeah,
just say
I want to hear,
however
because
they
we
came.
got into a tangent of like,
Yeah.
who's right about INEOS or wrong. I want to hear the point that you guys actually wanted to make, which is both Semix and Nelson, which is you initially brought up that you don't have faith in INEOS. So are you saying that they're essentially going to sack Amorim? Is that the point that you're making?
I've said this over and over again. They might not sack him, but they're not going to give him another contract. I guarantee it. Unless Amorim, and here's only caveat, unless Amorim overperforms and gets us to top 4 or maybe top 5, I'll actually argue top 5. If it gets top 5, I think they reassess. But if which we all agree, I don't think any of us had us finishing like over 5th. I genuinely believe they won't give him another contract. I think.
Okay, so-
Sorry, Chid.
But
Yep.
No.
But the
there's
point I was trying to make is we're focused. Going back to what Semix said, let's look at the actual ability of the team above Amorim. As I said, none of them have the proven success yet. They have talents, of course. But look, we got Jason Wilcox. Who did Arsenal get? We needed to get a caliber of person who's already done it in some level.
Well,
Yeah, but
We
to
get,
the
we,
Arsenal
get,
point-
we get someone who maybe, however talented he's never actually done it at a big club.
right, but neither.
Arsenal get Berta. Arsenal get Berta from Atletico Madrid.
Atletico.
He's done it at Atletico Madrid. And then
Okay,
he
but
comes
who's the
to
guy
Arsenal.
before Berta?
What I'm trying to say is this team is relatively inexperienced.
And
What's your point, Shailene, when you said who's the guy before Berta?
Barada has never
I
been
think
a
it was a
CEO.
PSG, I think.
Barada has never been a CEO. Wilcox has never been a director of football at a top club. And what has Jim Ratcliffe done in football? And what
Edu
has
Gaspar?
Dev Brailsford done in football? None of them. So we have to remember, I'm not saying they're bad. This is not the point. I'm saying they are relatively inexperienced, and I think that they're likely to make a mistake because
Yeah,
of that.
but Raphael, I would stand up for them here and say that because they were cultivated and because they had the experience of working around the guys who made the right decisions, who led to championships, I would trust them as much as I would trust somebody who actually had the head job. Maybe not as much, but close. My bigger point is to answer Andy, because I think he was talking about, do I believe they'll sack Amorim or whatever the question was, something to that point. My bigger thing is, Andy, I just want our owners to put their money where their mouth is. I'm sick and tired. And I said it on the podcast. If anybody hasn't seen the podcast, go watch it. Shame on you. My bigger thing is like, it's time to put your money where your mouth is and stop acting like, okay, we're doing this the right way, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, if we're doing it the right way, then settle with 6th and 7th and don't sack the manager. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what you're doing. But if you're doing it so that we can get back into Europe and you want to guarantee we're getting back into Europe, especially with the way the Premier League table is setting up right now, if you don't drop serious money this January, then I'm losing faith in you. Because I don't see how you don't do that.
We're on the
right
same page with that, Semix. We're like 100% on the same page with that. Because here's the thing. INEOS are in a unique position this season, right? This is a season more than any other where spending money gives you the highest delta, the highest return on your money in January, right? Because we're looking at from 4th to 15th, only 7 points between the two teams. Chelsea and Bournemouth are 4th and 15th. There's 7 points between them, right? So if we win today, I started off the show with this conversation. If we win this weekend, the best we're getting is 6th or 7th, which is maintaining position. And the worst we're getting is 10th or 12th, right? And that's going to sway opinion massively because we go into the 30th, we're playing Wolves. Even if we win that game, we're probably going into the new year in 10th, right?
Right.
So that's a crazy position, and fans are going to go crazy about that. And I just don't know. I'm with you there. Like INEOS has to prove themselves in January.
Me and you have 90% of the same beliefs. That's why we can get along and make these videos, Andy. I totally understand that me and you are almost always on the same page, except sometimes I feel like maybe you tell me if this is true or not. Would you be okay with a loan in Conor Gallagher or Ruben Neves or something like that? Because I'm not okay. And I think that's what I was talking about in the Three Devils podcast is like, no, man, put your money where your mouth is. Go get me someone who's real. I don't want to deal with loans. I don't want Sabitzer. I don't want this bullshit. Sorry, I don't want to curse.
But I still love it.
I'm done with it,
bullshit
man.
is
I'm
acceptable.
done with because
bullshit
it's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same as before. But now we're just saying, but now we're recruiting for things we need. Sabitzer was something we needed, but he wasn't good enough. Like, guys, remind me. I love this player too. The older striker.
Igalo.
Igalo.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, he was great. I loved him. I loved having him, but he wasn't good enough. That's not what I really want. And believe me, if we brought in Conor Gallagher, I'd back him. But I'd hate every minute of it.
We're making an assumption here, Semix, that they're not going to do anything.
I don't think they will.
Like
didn't James say on your podcast that they're willing to spend money?
Yeah.
On Semenyo?
No.
Like
he said in general they have money to spend is what James had said. But again, I hear where Semix is coming from, right? The noise.
But look,
am I wrong for being traumatized?
No, you're not.
Am I wrong in being traumatized? Because I'm traumatized by our club, right?
No.
Like I'm traumatized. Last January, I thought we were going Nuno Mensch, and we end up with Patrick Dorgu. The summer before that, I thought we were getting
Semix, come on, that's on you for believing it in the first place. That's on you for believing it in the first place. Come on, dude.
I think
but now you want me to believe what you're saying. But now you want me to believe the good news.
I'm just saying that some dude is going to turn up on the 1st of January and join the team. I'm not saying Nuno Mensch is going to come, man. Come on. Why would he leave the best club in the world and play for United?
Some dude. Why do I want some dude? We already have some dude playing there.
I don't know the names that are linked. Like, obviously, see, Semix, I'm 100% with you in whatever you're saying. My point is, if we want to go and get an Elliot Anderson in this January, it's going to be 100 or 110 million pounds, not a
100%.
cent lower than that.
But your brother already said on the podcast, we're better off doing that.
Yes.
We're better off doing that. Your brother said it in the podcast that right now you throw down 110 and you try to get Elliot Anderson because it might be 150 in the summer.
Semix, how about you introduce me to your brother so that I can throw some of yours?
Do you trust our recruitment team to get the players based on what happened in the summer and what happened in January? So far, you would say no. They haven't.
No. This is where I'll disagree a bit because look.
Me too. I'm with Shaylin.
Yeah, I'm with you.
They got some players that we didn't think that we were. I mean, honestly, when I heard the
okay. Look, let me explain.
Let
me explain what I'm saying. Okay, I really like Mbuma. I really like Cunha. I really like Šeško. I like these guys, but it wasn't enough. That's the point. It wasn't enough.
Right, but can we realistically turn over like 13 players in a season summer?
No.
Some clubs do. Amorim did it.
Yeah, but Rafael, that was 50 million.
Let me finish the point. Can you let me finish the point?
Yeah, sorry.
Before you come in, let me finish the point. We didn't succeed then, in my view, and you can say it differently, but that's my view at the moment. We didn't succeed well enough. We should have got rid of more players. We got players in far too late. We needed them earlier on in pre-season, like in the way that Liverpool got their players in. If we compare ourselves to Liverpool, they were much better. So
Well,
in the summer,
I
in the
disagree there.
January before, we wanted Kenda, we ended up getting Dorgu.
Yeah.
Dorgu's a talent, but maybe in 2 years' time he's going to deliver. But we needed someone much better than that. So we haven't got the players yet. So what is the, let's say, what's the evidence to say they will?
So I
And
think
by the
What
way,
is the
Rafael,
can I just
hold on,
say-
hold on.
credible evidence?
And
Hold on.
I don't
Good
think
question,
any,
Rafa.
hold on.
Hold on,
I'm gonna-
Rafael.
I don't think anybody in this panel disagrees with what I'm about to say. I'm saying it for the viewers out there. If when you hear someone say Kenda didn't come because he wanted to play as a winger and not a wing back, or Semenyo didn't come here because he wanted to play as a winger and not a wing back, if you look at our average positioning, they're wingers.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
that's
they're not.
They're defensive
Like
wingers.
that is the biggest BS, and no one on this panel thinks that. I'm just saying
Yeah,
it to
yeah,
the
yeah,
viewers
of course.
because I see it too much.
Can we bring in Ryan for a second, please? Because he's been
Yeah.
so patient. He's probably the best behaved panelist we ever have here.
Yeah, no
Please,
problem.
Ryan, go
I
ahead.
actually have a question for Semix mostly here, which is, would you rather us get the wrong player now or the right player in the summer? Because that's where I differ with the spend money now, because I don't know if the right players are there now.
That's okay. So I'm from America where everything has a price. If you want something, you go get it. Like you don't get something you don't want. So
See,
when I say spend money now, put your money where your mouth is, I'm not saying go do that for something you don't want. So if our data team is smart enough and they've narrowed it down to one of three candidates, go get one of those three. I'm not saying go outside of those three, right? And
Yeah,
believe
we
me,
can go get Lando
everything
Norris, right? Because they're data teams from F1, right? So just go get Lando Norris to play up top. for us.
there is obviously we only have so much money. So if we go and overspend by 20, 30 mil on free players, then that's another fourth player that we then cannot go out and buy. So I think you
Yep,
have to
but-
balance.
This is the part.
players in.
I got you, Ryan. But like
Right.
the other
Sorry,
thing
go.
I'll say is, that they also have next year's backup list. Let's say not the guys who are going to be the starting 11 players.
Right.
Go get one of those guys. You're not going to overpay for
That's
those.
where
guys,
I
right?
disagree. I would rather
Wait,
us not get our backup now if we can get up our first choice in
But
6
Ryan,
months.
I feel like
Like,
we're
if
going
we
in
go and
circles. here.
sign João Gomez or someone like that, I'll be really annoyed because. he's
Wait,
not worth
why?
getting.
Do you think we're getting Wharton, Baleba, and Anderson?
Yeah. Is that-
I think we will definitely get one of those three.
Okay, but we need five. Like we need 4 midfielders. So what do you mean one of those 3? Great. What about the other 3 midfielders we need?
See, I disagree there because this is where we disagree on Bruno. Obviously,
What do you
I
mean?
want to keep
Casemiro's not going to
Bruno.
be there. Ugarte hopefully will be sold. Like
So wait,
Where we
let me-
getting
let
Let's
me
say we need at
understand
least
Simmons.
three. Let's say we need at least 3 next season.
we need at least 3.
3.
Everybody
least
but
3.
Ryan agree with that, right?
Yeah.
Can I, Ryan? I think this may help get us in a more concise direction moving forward with the debate because we're going in 10 different directions. Let me ask both Nelson and Semix, and it's nice that I have you guys both sitting together on the panel. What is the expectation, right? What could INEOS do to keep you guys happy? And I guess I want to hear from Semix first because Nelson has a slightly different point. He's more about Ruben Amorim probably doesn't fit this team and this project. But what could INEOS do in terms of spending like a certain amount of money, and in terms of the number of players that you want to see in January that would make you happy? That would make you say, okay, INEOS has my vote.
Yeah. So for me, I want I think, and I'm not going to go into detail unless you want me to talk for a long time. I think we need 7 players before next season starts. And I'd like 2 of those players to come in this January and 5 in the summer. And I know Shaylin's eyes just got like this big when I said 7, but if you honestly think about it, 7. Okay.
No, I misunderstood. I thought you said 7 players in January first.
No, no.
He's saying his whole point. Yeah.
No.
So
7
you want 2
players
to come in, 2 to come in January, and based on what you've said so far, that would be 2 starting players, not just 2 squad players, right? You want to get the two main guys to come and start.
2 who would start the rest of this season because they're better than what we have, but they could be they'll be future challengers for whoever else comes in the summer.
Okay,
This could be
so
like an
even if it's 2
Ederson
bench,
type
even
player,
if it's
right?
2 of the future bench
100%.
players, it's fine.
100%.
Okay,
Right.
got it. And how much money do you think that would take to get those 2 players? Now, let's say position-wise, we're looking at either left wing back and midfielder or midfielder and center back. How much money would you think that would take?
100. 100 would do it, right? 245 or 255 million pound players, like right around
Okay.
that 100.
Okay, so if we get 2 players in January, essentially, that's the difference between you being supportive of INEOS and not being supportive.
Yeah, and not only that, I'll tell you guys, like I really think City is going to spend more than 100 in January, and that's going to be 2 Januaries in a row where City. Yeah, but here's the thing: if we're going to play with the big boys, we got to start betting like the big boys. You don't go to the no limit poker table and go, I bet $10. You know what I mean? Like, if you're going to sit at the big boy table, you got to start betting big boy numbers.
Yeah. So Semix, here's the place where I think some nuance might help bridge the gap between where you are and where I am, right? I think the reason why, because this is a question that goes around a lot, the reason why Amorim did not get more backing in the summer, right, is I think they were thinking from the lens of what Nelson keeps saying, which is this the right horse to back? Let us give him a whole new attack and see what he does in the season, right? So they've given him that. They wanted to get Baleba as well, but I think the Baleba rumor, did it come after Šeško or before Šeško?
After.
Okay.
It was like the last week of the window.
It was,
okay, yeah. So I think they're looking at Amorim as like, can he make something happen? Rishi's hanging off to bed. So they're looking at Amorim at this season and they're evaluating, has he shown us at least as much or more than what we were expecting from him? And this is where perhaps me and Nelson disagree on what overperformance or underperformance actually means. But I think Semix, you agree with me, which is the underlying numbers are proof of Amorim's system doing well. I think you're a big fan of the Amorim system as well. So the underlying numbers are showing us that even with the squad he's given, he's essentially doing miracles for where he is, right? We're 3rd on expected points, and we've been doing pretty well. So I actually think they're looking at this now and saying we weren't prepared to spend money in January before the season started, but now that we've seen the progress, we will spend in January. So am I making sense in terms of where they were in the summer and now they're looking at it saying there's real opportunity based on where the table is and where we are now? So I'm not sure if they will spend 100, but I think we will see them get at least one of those 7 players that you mentioned and maybe 1 loan. So where we differ is this very small line between you saying there's option A and no other option really, which again is fair to have that viewpoint. But me saying there's option A and slightly A2 or B, where it's one of those players and 1 lone player, I think is what we will land on.
But so you're saying a budget of what then? 70?
It's a fair point. You say that maybe they weren't going to trust Amorim with too much money. But the problem wasn't just about player recruitment. It was the timing of the recruitment. They didn't get that right. That's a failure of recruitment. They didn't get enough players out, I believe.
But isn't this the first window?
And if we look at someone to blame, I mean, I'm not saying Amorim doesn't have faults. I think his in-game management needs to improve. But when we look at who would we lay the can at? Who's to blame? Well, it should really be down to recruitment, whoever we say that is. Is that the CEO and Jason Wilcox together, something like that? Is Jim Ratcliffe part of that? But whoever is at the nub of recruitment is responsible at the moment, not Amorim primarily.
Yeah. So let me take a second to address a couple.
But at the end of the season, maybe Wilcox will say, "Well, it wasn't
we have
me,
some
it wasn't
super
me."
chats that are way overdue. By the way,
we should
Nightwing said Shaylin sent a super chat and then he spoke on the channel before I read his super chat out. So let me just go through this. Nightwing says Semik's head rotating 360 degrees. How many screens? Is he in the Iron Man helmet? Was the super chat worth $5? Yes.
I've got 3 screens.
I think,
to answer your question.
Yeah. Darshan says nice debate, but don't agree with Nelson and Semix. Ayush says our willingness to spend should be matched by other clubs' willingness to sell, and the right players' willingness to join. Interesting. Subtype says if Ruben feels Gallagher and Ruben Neves is what he wants, I'm fine with it. Ruben has INEOS. Is this
insurance.
Is this a word I don't know about?
No.
Influence. Oh, influence.
Influence, yeah.
Influence. Okay, yeah. Influence at the club. Ruben is why Bruno is still here. Fair point. So guys, I know we were in the middle of it all. It is Christmas Day, so Merry Christmas to everybody. I've got my Christmas jump. Is that an OVO sweater, Semix?
No, this is my girlfriend made this. This is a Mix Media sweater.
Oh, okay. That looked like OVO to me. You saw
Yeah, it looked
Nelson
like
shaking
OVO
his
to
head.
me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
she's got
anyways,
good taste.
I think it's not. So it's not about. I don't think it's necessarily about financial fair play. I think part of it is also that INEOS has looked at all the transfer decisions we've made in the last 10 years and realized that we've overpaid consistently. Like I think Rishi said it in the episode we did with Shaylin recently, where we've been both a desperate buyer and a desperate seller. What was the word we used, Shaylin? What was it?
Panic buyer and desperate seller.
Oh,
Those
panic
are the
buyer and
terms.
desperate seller, right? So in both senses, we're getting shafted consistently. So I think they looked. That's why the Brian and Bumo deal took so long, because they were like, we're not just going to get taken for a ride and give Brentford whatever they want. And I think Brentford, on their part, kind of just kept moving the goalpost as well. That's why it took us so long to go get him. So Rafael, I hear you. It's not been all ideal. Again, I'm not the INEOS spokesperson here. I've criticized them, fairly, in my opinion, on the channel as well. I think the only thing I would say is that maybe we're just in a position where even if INEOS does everything right, even if Ruben Amorim does everything right, we might end up seeing him getting sacked and this project goes nowhere. That's the reality of it. But Nelson, I want to hear from you as well, because we've been talking to Semix. I think even though you guys are next to each other, I think you have a different point, because you actually don't believe in that Ruben Amorim is the right guy. Is that correct?
No, I think Ruben Amorim can do something. I think he's a good coach. Any coach who wins stuff is a good coach. The argument is, if his preferred formation is a 3-4-2-1, it means you're going to need to give him centre backs. You're going to give him better central midfielders. We need a better left wing back. We probably need cover in the attacking midfield. We need a better striker. Sheshko has not been good enough. Those are 7. So if you're saying you want 7 positions, and this was the point that I was talking about I was disagreeing with Ryan. Elliot Anderson is not coming to us. He is playing at an elite level. He's going to want, if any elite team, Man City, Real Madrid, whoever, Bayern Munich. If they decide they're going for him, it's clear that INEOS do not want to battle against any of the big teams. It's clear. And by the way, they've stated that. I've been, what I've been doing that I've been finding? I think Shaylin and Andy and Rishi are trying to interpret what they're saying. I'm listening to what they're saying directly. They have stated they don't want to spend large money on transfers.
But wouldn't you argue that that's the right thing to do in this case, especially when you're looking
at... the argument is, if you want to move up, you have to spend. You have to. There's never been we talk about Chelsea, we talk about any of the top 4 teams now, on average, are spending 150, 250 plus.
Yeah, so we will continue to spend that. I don't think we're not going to spend 250 million.
Yeah, but we're going to split it. It's not going to be for one player.
Nelson's talking about per player.
I'm saying per player. I'm not saying you.
That's not talking about a summer.
Yeah, I'm saying one player. Guys are going for 150. There's no player we're going to be buying for 150.
Okay,
we're not getting any
Anderson. Let's say you do that, right?
Yes.
You're going to spend 125 million per player, and then now all of a sudden, because you did this, you have to blow away your wage structure. This is counterintuitive to exactly everything that they're trying to build in terms of that idea of the cultural reset. I don't think they're going to do that. And you know what? Even if we don't get a player like Anderson, if we don't get a player like Baleba and things like that, it doesn't necessarily mean we still can't go up the table. They're looking at a different set of measurements than maybe what we are considering. For them, it's about how efficient is every £1 million that we're actually spending in terms of advancing it up the table. You might be able to get an Anderson, but if you cannot get him, if you can't raise the floor on this team as a whole, even if you just spend big on one guy in order to get him, what does it actually then do for you?
Shaylin, you're absolutely right. So then where should they invest their money? Because you're 100% right. I want to see if you're smart enough to. I'll just say it because I don't want to make it a stupid thing. So then we have to have a top-notch data analyst team. We have to have like Jamestown. I forgot what their name is. I think it's Jamestown something that does all the data analytics and recruitment for Brighton, for Como. We have to have like that caliber of data analytics. and that's not going to be built overnight, right? Like we're
But it was,
obviously
though.
building something, right?
No,
We're
but it
building
was.
Yeah,
something.
but we have
This
gone
is-
from
this
like
is-
data in the past century to like
Yeah.
third or fourth best in the league. In
And
the
this is
space of
stuff that
1
like
year.
other
Well,
people.
well, hold
have
on.
said
Then,
too.
then there's no problem if you guys think that we've already reached kind of those levels. Then there's no problem with them finding a 40-30 million euro player that could come in January.
Yeah.
No, and I think we. Will
I don't
find
think
one,
we're
but
there
I don't
yet.
Think,
Like I don't think we
we're-
have that data yet.
Or
You get what
has
I'm
it
trying to
moved
say?
yet?
Like
That's the other part to it too, is because INEOS has intentionally been trying to keep it very like closed doors. They've even said we're going to investigate, like, who the hell said to Laurie Whitwell that we're going to play in a back four. They're not trying to put out all of their targets and things like that. In fact, you're probably getting less information for those more credible sources. So you're right. But a part of it, we have to wait until, January actually starts. To
Shailene,
see,
is it fair to say that the targets like Dorgu and Cheshko, who were more, the underlying stats look like they were good players, have yet to prove that they're good players at the
that's
moment?
totally fair.
But
I
it's
mean-
also fair to say that the players who were performing at a high level in Cunha and Bumo are the ones who performed well for us. So for me, whenever
I
it
would
looks,
argue Cunha hasn't done enough. I still think
okay,
he's
but Mbumo
underperforming
then.
to
So Mbumo
what
was
we
fair.
wanted him for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my argument is, if you're trying to move up, the aim is to move up the table, correct? If we're trying to move up the table, you have to improve the underlying base of our players. And for instance, if we want a midfielder, they have to be better than Casemiro or at the same level, or a higher level than Bruno, or around that level. We know that there's only one midfielder in this league who's performing at that level or higher. It's
Yeah,
Elliot
but you
Anderson.
also said that you don't think we can get him, so you
Yeah,
can't just go and
but
say that
that's
can't
my
get this guy.
concern. Is if I literally have said this over and over again. I've said if you want midfielders, if everyone, Ryan said he wants Elliot Anderson, which we won't get because I think Man City. He sounds like a City.
So
sign.
one thing I'll say, by the way, I don't think we're getting Elliot Anderson.
Yeah,
I think we will be in the Adam Wharton market, and it's because his stats aren't looking as good as Elliot Anderson's are, but he is actually, I would say, a comparable player, right? The system that he's playing doesn't require him to output the level of stats that Elliot Anderson does. Elliot Anderson is to Nottingham Forest what Bruno is to United. Everything goes through him, and that's why his stats looks as good as they do, right? And he's also playing like a core part of the England team, and that we're just never going to be in that market. I'll tell you what, Kimmich is getting old, Goretzka is getting old. Their midfield needs refreshing. I think he's probably going to Bayern Munich, right? They probably pay the 120 million or something for him and go get him. But I'm just looking at this now, and I'm saying maybe the metrics that we have, something Shaylin said earlier, for this team and for the success that we want to achieve is completely different to what INEOS has, right? Because I think they're looking at it as like, we are never going to be in the top four or guaranteed in the top four next season. I think they're still looking at this as like a 3 seasons from now. If we can guarantee top four, then we're actually in a good place. And maybe we just all disagree with that because I don't think that's good enough, right? I agree that's not good enough.
I genuinely
we
think
have to be in the top
INEOS,
four next year.
I think INEOS sees us as a top 4 team, and they're thinking in 3 to 5 years, this team should be competing for honors, for like winning
that's
the league.
absolutely true.
And
I
if
agree
that's
with the second thing, not the first thing. That's all. That's all I'm
how
saying.
do you get
This year,
to
top
3
four
to
is
5 years
crazy.
winning the league from 8th? You have to think of in next year you're going to be
You
top
can
4.
make incremental
Next year you're going to be
improvements.
top 3. Yeah, but there's only the incremental improvements we require is my point. The incremental improvements are elite players. It's not semi-elite, it's elite. There's no way you see Arsenal, we like bringing up Arsenal, but there's a reason why. You saw the change when they brought in Rice. It was immediate. You saw the change when they brought in Gabriel and Saliba. It was
Of what base did they bring that Rice
It came
onto?
from-
They were already a good
Had
team.
Gabriel and Saliba during the time that they brought in.
Yeah,
Rice.
And
but
they
you're-
had
you're-
Odegaard,
you're
Saka, all of
forgetting
these
their
players that
midfield.
were one of the best players
they
in the
also
league.
had bad players, is my point. They did invest, even when
Not
they had
to
bad
our
players.
level, though. That's my point. That's not
Pepe,
their squad wasn't where
Aubameyang,
we are now.
Lacazette, the one as bad as we had on
wait.
on high wages.
Can I ask something? Because I'm confused. Like, Andy, when you say not to our level, we have worse players, I agree with you. But what are you trying to say? Like, we need to take steps up to good, or can we leapfrog the mid section? Like all Nelson's saying is we would leapfrog that semi good, because honestly, Casemiro on his day is not a bad player, and on his good day, I need somebody who is better than Cass, right? So Cass on his good day, I need somebody who's better than Cass on his good day.
Let me clarify my point, right? My point, I think Nelson is drawing parallels between Elliot Anderson to us now with Rice to Arsenal when they bought him, and I'm saying we're not Arsenal when they bought Rice. That's my point.
Yeah, because their defensive line was better, right? Like, because I mean,
that makes a huge difference, right? They had not just better; they had the best defense in the league. Like, Gabriel.
But are you saying then we should build our defense first? Because I don't understand. We still need to get elite players. It doesn't matter the position.
My point is the floor of our team in general, right? Like, if you're looking at our team now, I would agree that the top 3-4 players in our team are good, right? In terms of where we want to be. Maybe even 5 if you want to include Šeško and things like that. Like, they'll come good. But I would say the first 11 is nowhere near as good as where Arsenal was before. The squad is nowhere near as good as Arsenal had when they purchased Rice. So my point isn't that getting Elliot Anderson would be the wrong thing to do, because that's not how Arsenal did it. I would love to go get him right now. So I'm on the same page with you guys, right? In that sense. But my point is that we're not going to see the delta that Arsenal saw with Rice by just getting Anderson into this team.
Yeah.
Right. That's
there's also the other
going to go down, because there's a compounding effect. If you go watch the Stat Patters episode with Jalen,
that's basically why I want 2. I don't think one. I don't care where you put that one is not gonna affect.
Because most of these teams, right? If we look at our underlying stats from last season for expected points, we should have finished with 52 points. We finished with 42 points, right? If we're gonna say let's just take the expected points. I don't want to look at 42 and try to improve from there. If this season, if we can improve on that by 6 points, that is essentially the kind of improvement that Klopp got, that Arsenal got. These are all teams that have tried to improve 6 points per season to get to where they got to, right? So that's my point. If we're aiming at not even 58, let's aim for 60 points this season. The season after that, we aim for 66, then 72. That's how we get into a title race, by finishing around 80 points in 3 years. That's my point to Nelson. 3 to 5 years. That's how you get to the title race without guaranteeing that we're going to be in the top 4 next year.
And look, you're going to have some windows where you're going to have massive swings in terms of the points that you're able to get to, right? Like, I think Klopp finished maybe like -1 prior to the season prior, and then ended up going like +8 to eventually like +19, because he got some of these guys in together, and that's effectively what ended up raising the entire floor of the club. But Nelson, for your point that you're trying to make, is that like,
also Shaylin, let's make this the last point, because I gotta go. It's Christmas Day. I gotta go spend time with my wife.
Yeah, me too.
I've got a friend over who needs something printed as well, so let me go help him out. Yeah.
For this idea of like, us being able to even get Anderson, my goal is as like in January, if we forget being able to overperform the number of points and the number of XGs and XG that we have right now, if we can get 2 players that can at least get us to actually perform to where we should be inside of the table today, and then we end up finishing inside of that top 4 squad, because I agree with you, right? INEOS think that they have at least a top 4 capable squad, and so the manager's probably just not getting enough out of them, and we're a bit hard done by our luck as well. But if we can get 2 players that can at least get us to perform where it is that we need to be by the end of the season and help us close that gap, getting a player like Elliot Anderson becomes a reality, because you can sell the project a lot better at that point.
Do you think then they're going to go? Because if we're assessing this squad right now, the underperformance is in our center backs. So you would argue then this January, they would more likely go for center backs than a central midfielder.
One center back,
one center back, one central midfielder.
Yeah.
I have a slightly different point as well. I think given what's happened with Bruno, and given that Casemiro can easily pick up the same injury Bruno just did, because let's be honest, like, if the load on Bruno is too much, then there's no player that's safe in this midfield necessarily, right? So I'm looking at this and saying Kobe Mainoo has shown himself to be one of the most injury prone 20-year-olds I can remember, right? Paul Pogba was injury prone later in his career. He was never injury prone at 20, right? And then you're looking at Bruno's picked up this injury as well. We can't trust Ugarte, and Licha is doing a job in midfield, let's be honest. And he's also injury prone. So I actually think you get 2 midfielders in January, not center backs, because the center backs are still maybe passable, and you could argue they make less mistakes if we have better legs in midfield ahead of them, right? So if we get 2 midfielders, I would also accept that. A midfielder and a center back is also very good. But guys, on that note, Merry Christmas to everybody. I know this got a little heated, but let's be respectful to Semix and Nelson, because we don't have this conversation if they don't have differing perspectives, right? So
And
I
Ryan, nice to
respect
meet you,
guys.
man, and being on the show with you, Ryan. Thank you.
Nice to meet you as well, and
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
This is fun.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, guys. Shaylin, Merry Christmas. Thank you for the gifted memberships. Nightwing as well. Thank you for the gifted memberships. Now I got to go hear an earful for going 20 minutes over from my wife, but that's what the holidays bring us, right? So thank you guys so much, man. Peace out. Bye.
All right.
Bye.